Live everywhere. All right, cool. You know something, Enrique? You are always here, Enrique. At this point, Enrique, I think you're just a fan because you are always here. I think you're just a person that wants to comment for the algorithm, just to see if anyone else will come in because you are always here. You're always saying the exact same thing, and you never call in. You never call in. You never request. No matter how many times I invite you up to have the conversation, you never come up. No matter how many times I tell you to just call in the line, you never call in. Like at this point, I'm here. I think you're just here to make comments to for the algorithm. At this point, Enrique, you're just here for the algorithm, aren't you? Because this is a constant thing with you. You're always here. You're always here. No matter how many times I tell you to come up and actually talk to me about what you're saying, you never actually come up. No matter how many times I invite you, no matter how many times that I think you just want me to go back and forth with you in the comments. But I appreciate you being a fan, but it's a bit annoying at this point. Yeah, Enrique, go ahead. I'm inviting you up, bro. Go ahead and just come on up because we can talk about all your claims if you want. We can talk about all the claims if you want. But at this point, I think you just want me to go back and forth with you in the comments, and I'm not doing that. So if you actually want to have a legit discussion, an actual conversation, let's go ahead and do that. But just continually to be a fanboy. What's going on, Michaela? I have not figured out how to do the back and forth yet. Actually, I think I did. It's with a sound mixer. I do a physical sound mixer, but what the problem is that I have a sound mixer, right? But with the sound mixer, uh, the caller can no longer hear me. Yeah, I mean they can hear everything else on the computer, but they can't hear me. It's really weird. So yeah, I still haven't figured that part out yet. As soon as I do, then I can have better panels. I think I know who to ask to though. I'll probably because I'm gonna see them on Monday, so I'm gonna ask them how do they do that because I've been having I think I just need a physical soundboard, a physical mixer, but I just need to figure out exactly what the issue is with them no longer hearing me when I have the physical mixer. It's really weird. But yeah, go ahead and y'all start liking this. Start liking this. Let's go ahead and get those likes up. If you disagree with what I have on the board, go ahead and call on. There we go. If you disagree with what I have on the board, go ahead and call in, and we will have that discussion. We'll have that conversation. I don't mind talking to anybody. And this guy Enrique, I don't know. Do I need to just block him because this is a constant thing with Enrique. All right, y'all. So we're just waiting for anybody to call in or request up. Like I said, you can the phone line is now open. You can either call the number or you can just hit that request button here on TikTok, and we will have any discussion that you would like to have. You see numbers 1 through 5 there on the stage. All right, there we go. All right, so y'all see numbers 1 through 5 there on the stage. If you disagree with any of those points or like to talk about any of those points, you see the phone number 786-751-7853. Go ahead and call. All righty, and we already got someone yelling at me in my YouTube comments. And all you gotta do is call in, bro. Someone's already yelling at me in the YouTube comments, and all you gotta do is call in. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I realize that the phone number is right there, right? Like it's right up here. Go ahead and call. Mic is on right now. I know mic was on right now. All right. In the YouTube comments, one person is talking about my ancestors died to free yours. Another one is talking about the last administration caused inflation, which is, kind of dumb. All right, we got a 561 number. Oh, that's Florida. I recognize that. All right, 561. How's it going, 561? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
definitely over 18.
Gotcha. Can I get your name, please?
Chris.
All right, Chris. What did you disagree with?
Well, it's a few points that you made. Leftist police are better for society.
Alrighty, and we already got.
I would say America was never great. Faith is unreliable. Probably every single point that you made, but we'll go ahead and dissect the first point. America was never great. When you make that statement or assertion, are you trying to state that America is not great for any people, or only pertaining to Black people?
Really, I'm talking about pertaining to Black people, but because Black people are citizens of America, they're part of America. If it's not great for them, then the country can't be great either.
Okay. Okay, I see your point. I'm going to ask you another question. What country or nation in the world produces the most Black millionaires? I'll let you answer that one.
United States.
Okay. So, but that would be in conflict with your first statement. If the United States produces the most Black millionaires, how then would it not be great?
Racism.
In some aspect. You said it's not great for Black people, but it's producing the most Black millionaires. So explain that to me.
Racism still exists.
So we're not talking about racism.
Yeah, we are.
Don't.
That's what makes it not great. That's what makes it not great.
No. It is great, but racism exists. That's right. That's what you call. You're straw manning the argument. The argument. I'm going off of your statement.
Adam. I'm sorry. Was your name Adam or
Chris.
Eric?
Chris.
I'm sorry.
Chris. I'm sorry.
Wow, that was way off.
Okay.
Apologize. All right. So, Chris, the reason why it's not great is just because it produces millionaires doesn't mean that it's great. Because in 1960, it was also producing Black millionaires, but we all know what's going on in the 1960s, right? Just because millionaires exist doesn't make it great.
You said, okay, I'm going to try to hold you to one certain point. I don't like derailing and going off on like a tangent. So in order for, because I'm trying to understand your point. You said America is not great for Black people. You said, is that sociologically, economically, and what aspect were you, speaking that America isn't great? If you're talking economically, America is great for Black people. You just said it. You said no other country produces more millionaires than America. Sociologically, I can sort of see your point to where you said, racism is bad in any aspect. I'm a Black man. Nobody wants to be, treated, bad. But you have to take into consideration that time back then and this time now. I would say that it's much better than it was back then. Sociologically, we didn't have rights. You weren't able to communicate with a white person without being treated very badly. So I think the times have changed. So economically, America is the best spot for Black people. Sociologically, what is the best place for the Black community, in your opinion?
Probably Canada, but even economically, that's still not the case, because even though millionaires exist, again, like when we had Jim Crow, there were millionaires, but we do know that there was economic discrimination against Black people, despite the fact that they were millionaires. Hold on, I'm getting to that. So when it comes to today, we still see that there's still economic discrimination against Black people in the housing market and employment and even in education. So like it's already been shown in several research studies that a Black person with the same experience and degrees as a white applicant is still less likely to get the job, or still likely to be employed at the same firm. And not only that, they're still less likely to get paid less at that same firm. That's been a researched as well, where Black employees who are, seniors, same exact position, same exact experience, they're likely to get paid less. So when we say economically is better for Black people just because there are millionaires, that's still ridiculous, because just because there's Black millionaires doesn't mean that overall Black people still aren't discriminated against economically. So even economically, it's not great.
Okay, if it's not great, first you said something about in the housing market. You made a claim that we can, I guess, build wealth economically when it comes. You're referring to real estate, like we can't purchase land and sell land, or what? Like,
I'm not saying that we can't. I'm saying that Black applicants, when it comes to real estate, are discriminated against, and this has been shown in several HUD studies for the HUD. And
can you list your source? And I don't mean anything as an anomaly. I mean straight across the board. I'm not talking about redlining. I'm talking about specifically where Black people are trying to. I'm not talking about getting loans, purchase land or purchase real estate to sell, and you're saying they are being discriminated against. Granted, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not talking about a one-off. I'm not talking about an anomaly that is outside of the normal practices.
Yeah, I'm not talking about anomalies.
What source are you stating?
The source that I'm using is the HUD, the Housing Association, the Federal Housing Association. They research this like almost every year, and they show that Black applicants are still discriminated against in mortgage. And as a matter of fact, every single year,
I'm not talking about mortgages. I'm talking about purchasing for real estate.
That's a mortgage.
No, when you're purchasing a land to sell, if you're in a real estate business, you're buying and selling. I'm talking about strictly not so much places to live, but Black people, a real estate mogul who is buying properties and selling them. I'm not talking about purchasing a home. That's what I said. I'm not talking about redlining to where they were discriminated against as far as getting a loan. Although, there should be some type of system implemented, because, banks only make money off of debt. That's how they make money. So if they are purposely seeking out low income, communities and trying to sell debt to them, knowing they cannot pay back that debt in enough time to make the interest stay equal, I believe there's a problem with that. If they are purposely seeking for people with bad credit to go out there, knowing the debt isn't going to be paid back, but just so that they can raise the interest on that debt, there's a problem.
Yeah, and the research shows that that's happening too, specifically towards Black people.
Okay, so I still, you said that the HUD researcher. I've never heard of whatever research firm that you're referring to actually putting out those statements that Black people are discriminated against when it comes to trying to purchase.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. What did you research into it?
A lot of. I listed one thing that happened back in the day with redlining and stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot.
I'm talking about contemporarily. Have you researched that if there's discrimination within real estate contemporarily? Because when you do that research, like, it would show what I'm saying. Like, there's discrimination against Black people in mortgages and appraisals. And you said purchasing land, right? I'm not sure about purchasing land.
Yeah.
But I think it's in that too. But I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on it. But most people aren't purchasing land. Most people are purchasing homes. You know what I'm saying? So because no one's really out west like that. But I mean, there are people out west, but no one's going out west to buy homes. But I mean, buy land. I'm talking about. But when it comes to like what most people do in the real estate market, which is purchasing homes and appraising homes, Black people are mostly discriminated against in those fields.
Okay, I'm not gonna I'm not going to disagree with you on that front. I do believe discrimination and prejudice, it exists in the world. I do. It's prevalent. You can see just how people react to you when you come around. I don't want to dismiss, what you're saying. What I'm saying to your first claim, to bring it back to a point, is that you said in no time has America ever been great, but you have examples of America being great. When with Tulsa, Oklahoma, granted, what transpired, it getting destroyed. But you also said that economically, no other country produces more black millionaires than here. One of the richest black women in the world is Oprah Winfrey.
Mm-hmm.
What other country, African country, would you have placed her in that she would have been able to sustain that much wealth? Most places are either socialist or communist. So there's no, being able to get a whole bunch of wealth. Everything is, sort of trickle economics.
How do you explain China?
You tell me,
How do you explain China?
What do you mean? How do you explain China?
China's socialist and there's billionaires there.
Yeah, but you have to see how are they garnering their money? How are they? And I can't speak
Businesses.
on China's economy.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, but the government plays a huge role in how they go about setting up accounts. Because if you as an American, you go over to China, there I think is a 15%. And I need to do more research on it, but you have to give up 15% of either the ideals of your company or something. There's a certain percentage that you have to give up to the government in order for you to go do business over there.
Yeah.
Their government has much more. Yeah, it's heavily regulated. So I wouldn't use that as an example as to socialism actually being beneficial to the people, because it's not. They're a communist country, and
okay. So let me ask you this question: if it's not beneficial, why like when you actually look into like the metrics over there in China, they actually do have like healthier people than we have here in the United States. Like there's less corruption in their businesses. And when there is corruption, the government actually punishes that corruption within their governance and within their businesses. There are people who own there are more homeowners over there in China than do over here. The education system is better than it is over here. So if it's not good, why is China now is going to overtake America probably within the next 10, 15 years as the largest economy on the planet? Yeah, I mean, because the government plays a large role.
You said in the next what?
Probably in the next 10 years.
Okay, I don't have the statistics readily in front of me to either agree or disagree with you on that front as to if they'll surpass the United States. However, I can say we do have the best GDP out of any country, or per capita, I should say. So our system, the capitalistic system that we have, I would say is better than the communist system they have. And if it was so good over there, they wouldn't, be trying to, I guess, get their current leader out of office.
Yeah,
there wouldn't be,
right. The current leader is basically an infighting thing because they want to. The army wants to invade Taiwan and he doesn't yet. But yeah, I'm checking. Yeah, the GDP of the U.S. is larger than it is in China. Right, we're number one, they're number two. Yeah. But when it comes to when it comes to their economy and their actual society, they have we have way more like public infrastructure than we have. Like I said, the education system is better than ours. They have a high standard of living. All that is all good and well, right? We do have like a very large economy, right? Okay. But especially with the administration now, we're being a lot more isolationist. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to because I don't want to go off the rails. The point is that you were talking about the community, and we specifically said the Black community. So you tell me, how would, let's say, you adapt Marcus Garvey belief of, going back to Africa. Let's use China as an example. How would, economically and even sociologically, could a black man or a person who is not well off, and you place them in China,
Mm-hmm.
how would they make money? How would they grow their wealth? I'm just not talking about surviving the new environment. I mean actually thriving. How, outside of the U.S., and I won't even give you, I don't want to just keep you confined to China. You tell me any country that if you take a poor black man with a dollar and a dream, you place him there, where would he have his best chance of making his first million?
Canada, probably. Yeah, are we talking about like an English speaker?
No.
Are we talking about like an English speaker?
Any country in this world. Why did you go back to?
Right.
Why did you revert?
I'm going to explain why. Because
predominantly white. But hold on, why would you revert to a predominantly white country? Why wouldn't you go to Africa or the Middle East?
Because I'm looking at this from an American lens, right? So I'm thinking that you're gonna take a black American person. That person probably speaks English. So why would I put them in the middle of Congo where they speak French? That wouldn't make any sense.
Not, but there's a lot of English speaking South African countries. There's a lot, but you automatically went to Canada. You didn't even attempt to go
because the culture is.
You didn't attempt to go to anywhere in Africa. Why is that?
Because the culture is similar. So why would I take them somewhere that's not culturally similar? Why would I do that?
But that's
your question depends on all of that. It depends on language, cultural similarity, all of that. So if not Canada, then I'll send them to the UK because the cultural similarity.
Wow. That sounds extremely prejudiced, that you're not even you're not even having them go amongst their people to become economically sustainable. You're automatically you went from Canada to the UK. You're not even attempting to go to a predominantly
black
Afrocentric country.
We can go to a predominantly because of cultural similarity. Are you denying that?
Hold on.
Let me ask you a question.
With other Africans?
Yeah, of course we do. What I'm asking is that the way that America. Let me listen to my question. Are you denying that America, Canada, and the UK are like the cultures there, the way that the country operates? They're extremely similar. They're very similar, right?
No.
Yeah, they're very similar.
No. How many black athletes have Canada produced?
I don't know.
Black millionaires. I'm talking about millionaires. How many LeBron James have Canada produced? So what do you mean?
That's irrelevant. That's not what you were asking about.
How was that irrelevant?
That's not what you were asking about.
That is how we garner money, right?
We don't just garner money through sports.
That's how
what are you talking about? We don't just garner money through sports. Well, because when I say that these countries operate in a very, very similar fashion, then you ask me how many Canadian LeBron James there are. That's kind of ridiculous. We don't just make money we don't just make money that way. When I say culturally,
but you said
when I say culturally, I'm talking about how the societies operate. Nigeria doesn't operate the way that the UK or Canada operate. So yeah, we'll kind of be lost over there if we go over there. But the people, like, we're very similar to Nigerians as far as that goes, but the way the countries operate, they're not the same.
Pick Nigeria for your first?
Because the way the countries operate are not the same. I just told you the way the countries operate are not the same. So we're going to be unfamiliar.
What do you mean? How do they operate? How do we relate? Please tell your audience and myself how we relate to Canadians and other people, Anglo-Saxon country from the UK. How do black people, the black community, relate to them more than people from Africa?
Well, number one, when it comes to like the way that the society's ran through, like the governance, like individualism, things like things of that matter, the way like the thought process works, they operate more on an individualistic mindset than it would somewhere in Nigeria, where it's a lot more communal and it's a lot more clan based. We don't have clan based like a clan based system over here, but they do have it over there.
Okay, every country in Africa, and there's a lot of countries. Let's go with Northern Africa, Algeria.
Mm-hmm.
What is your excuse? There's no plans or whatever your tribunal
Nigeria's racist.
leagues there.
Nigeria's
You know,
racist.
so I okay, I can at least, you know, so we can get to the point, because we have the other topics that you place, and I would like to get to those too. So I don't want to argue if it's racist or not, but I find it problematic that you stated that America was never great, but you could not list a single country in which I'm talking strictly for our community, where they would be able to thrive in.
I
The
did.
first country, when I asked you,
Canada,
okay, but
yeah, they were thriving in Canada.
that
Wait,
we would be able to say, it's
Jesus
Canada.
Christ. Yeah, Canada.
Do you know what a okay?
Why would black
Canada?
people? Why would black people not be able to go to Canada and thrive there? Because there's already a black community in Canada that thrive there. So what are we saying?
Okay, what percentage of Canada is black? I think Africa
About
has
7.
a larger black populace than Canada.
Okay, so if you think that we can, if you think that we can go to Africa and thrive, that's fine. I'm not beefing with you on that. Yeah, sure, we can go to Ghana and thrive too. I'm not saying that we can't.
Okay.
No one's saying that we can't, bro. But you asked me to list a country, and I was like, okay, let me think about the ones that operate similarly to the United States when it comes to the governance, when it comes to universities, when it comes to the way that businesses are set up. Which one operates similarly to the United States? And that's Canada. So I said, yeah, they'll be able to thrive in Canada. But if you want to like a whole new system, sure. If you want to go a whole new system, you go to Ghana. Ghana and Nigeria have billionaires.
I'm asking you, how many millionaires? Black millionaires.
I don't know because I don't live there, bro. That doesn't matter. You said thrive. Thriving does not mean that you're a millionaire.
Matters.
No, it doesn't matter because, Chris, does thriving mean that you have to be a millionaire? Because I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire, but I own a house. Okay. So you don't have to be a millionaire in order to hold on. You don't have to be a millionaire in order to thrive. So when you say thrive, I'm not thinking about making millions because that's ridiculous.
Okay. Fair enough statement. I just want us to come to a point of agreement that you agree the best place for economically the black community is here in America. So we can go ahead and move on to sociologically. Where would the best place for the black community? America, you're the best place for the black community when it comes to economics. Now let's talk about sociologically. What country would you place us? If this place is so racist, this place is so gun-ho on being prejudiced towards our people, where would you place us?
Somewhere back in Africa, if we could find our tribes.
So you would put us in Africa?
If we could find our tribes, yeah, sure.
Which country in Africa?
Depends on your where you're at, both of your ethnicity
no, it
comes from.
It should not depend. That is our people.
No, not all of them.
You can say all of Africa.
No. We can't say all of Africa because that's not the way the world works, bro.
Okay. So pick a country in Africa. Ghana,
that depends.
Nigeria.
That depends on your tribe.
You have a lot.
Yeah, sure. For me,
I'm not talking about a tribunal league. I mean,
I didn't say anything about. I didn't say anything about tribunal league. And what I'm saying is that you say just pick a place is overly simplistic because it depends on your people. It depends on your tribe. Africa still has a lot of issues with tribalism, which is something that we got. I know. Africa still has an issue with
blood.
Can I finish?
Why would all of that matter?
It matters because Africa still has an issue with tribalism, right? So that's why that matters. But if you just say pick a place,
break that down for me.
If you just say, what do you mean? What does that mean? Africa has over 1,000 tribes, sometimes in one single country. So that's an issue, right?
So what does that mean? You're telling me black people would not be able to survive. So we have gangs.
I didn't say we want to be able to survive.
So
that's not what I said.
Have the same mentality.
All right.
In Africa.
I'm gonna mute you real quick because you seem to not be picking up what I'm putting down. Listen to what I'm saying. We just can't pick a place in Africa. All right, that's not the way that's going to work because Africa still has issues with tribalism. So yeah, if you want to go over there and survive and thrive, I'm talking to you about the reality situation. It's going to depend heavily on what tribe you're from. But if you just want to go ahead and pick a place somewhere that's culturally similar and somewhere that's sociologically similar, I'll probably say Ghana. Ghana doesn't have a lot of the sociological issues that somewhere like Nigeria has. Somewhere like Ghana would probably be better, or somewhere like Benin. It's probably even Burkina Faso if they can figure out their entire military situation. Probably some places like that. So we're talking about Senegambia, Senegal, Senegambia, Senegal and Gambia, probably Nigeria, probably Ghana. Ghana's probably the best place, and probably Benin. But if you want, if you want to make it a very, very simple, those are probably the places, right? But the reality of the situation is that you should probably go to a spot where most of your tribal ethnicity comes from. That's probably the best thing to do. But if you want to go just to a simple spot, pick a place: Ghana, Nigeria, Benin, Burkina Faso, the Senegambia area. Does that make sense now?
Okay, you muted me. So, and I'm not trying to overtalk you, but I want to get out my points while you're talking, so I don't forget them. Because if once you're talking, and then the train of thought that I had, I may forget. So that's the only reason why I'm not trying to overtalk you. But you listed Ghana. So two points I want to make. Here in America, they tell certain Black people that maybe came from a different sociological status to, hey, you cannot go to certain neighborhoods, even though you may share the same skin color, you may share the same ancestry, you will not be accepted in this community. Because, as you said, it's a form of tribalism. You just went back and said that Africans, or, those people in Africa, they suffer from that same idealistic view that if you can't go to certain parts of Africa because you do not have a connection with whatever tribe that is in that region. Then you went on to list Ghana as your location that we would be able to go. On the last part of your list, you said faith is unreliable for finding truth. But yet you just listed a country that's over 70% Christian. So pick a Muslim country. I want you to pick a Muslim country. Well, you did. You picked Nigeria because Nigeria is heavily influenced. And I don't know if you know this, the north side of Nigeria, because I have family and friends over there. North side of Nigeria is heavily influenced by the Muslim or the Islam. They're heavily influenced by Islam. You get a Black Christian who doesn't believe in Islam to go there. And if they come across a Nigerian who, let's say, is a Shiite, and he asks you what religion you believe in, and you say Christianity, or you say you're a Sunni Muslim, they're going to kill you on the spot. There is a genocide going on in Africa right now, to where they're going and they're annexing all of these lands from these other tribes that you were just talking about, and they're slaughtering these people, machetes and everything. So the little bit of so-called racism that we deal with in America is nothing to be compared to the genocide and brutality that's going on in Africa. And that's why the first country you listed as being a good station for Black people was Canada. And then your next place was the UK. Because everyone knows, just because you may share the same skin color and culturalism, it doesn't mean that you guys, will so-called be able to inhabit the same place. And that's the only point I'm trying to get you to understand.
All right, but Chris, no one disagreed with that, bro. So this entire diatribe you went on, what was the point of it? I never said that. I never said that if we just go to a place with all Black people, we'll be fine. It's not what I said.
But yeah,
so when it comes,
never great,
because it never was. It never lived up to its principles. It wasn't great during slavery. It wasn't great during Jim Crow. It can't be great now because systemic racism. Yeah, sure. Economically, we could do great things here. But you could do great things. Like I said, you could do economic great things in Canada too. You know what I'm saying? But because that's what you asked. But the second thing that I would say, hold on. The second thing that I would say is when I never said that. Because of the issues of tribalism, like you can't go somewhere and like if you're a different tribe, you can't go somewhere in Africa. That's not really the way that it works. Like you can go somewhere else if you're a different tribe. We just know that there's still ethnic tensions over there. In places where there's ethnic tensions, hold on, let me finish. In places where there's ethnic tensions, like Nigeria, because
I'm gonna be
like
yeah,
when it comes to Nigeria, right? The entire Muslim Christian thing
yeah,
is really between the Fulani pastoralist and everybody else, right? Not
yeah,
everybody else, but yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah,
the issue is more of an ethnic tension than is a religious one. But when it comes to the ethnic tensions, yeah, why would I put people from America, from Black America, in a place where there's ethnic tensions? I'm not going to do that. So you saying that,
okay.
oh, okay, hold on. You saying that, oh, America has to be great because the Congo has ethnic tensions? That's kind of ridiculous. Like, yeah, I'm not going to put you somewhere that's unsafe. Like I'm not really
Okay.
sure what your like. Here's the thing. I'm kind of struggling with what your point is, because you're it's like you're saying, I'm saying America was never great, therefore we should go to a place with ethnic tensions where you could die. Why would I do that?
No, no. The point I was trying to make is that we both agreed after you said America wasn't great. I said, well, America has produced the most millionaires
Yeah.
out of any country for Black people. So, secondly, I said, so economically, America is a good place for Black people. Then I said, sociologically, the point that I was juxtaposing was America, although it has its races and maybe prejudice tendencies, is still the best place sociologically for Black America. I said,
right, it's safer
Africa,
here.
which is where,
Right, it's safer
yes,
here. I do agree
there
that
we go.
I do agree that it's safer here than in the Congo, because the Congo is going through a war. Like, but we know that already. But that doesn't mean that what goes on in America is still all well and dandy. That's my point. Just because we're not going
Okay,
through
well,
the
I never made that point.
yeah, right, exactly. So just because we're not going through the civil war like they're going through in Congo doesn't mean that systemic discrimination is now fine. That's kind of dumb.
Okay, so you said safe. Okay, so I'm going to break down your point. You said safety wise, you said America is a good, safe place. Economically, it's a good place. So what do you mean by great nation? If you have safety and you can build economical wealth, why wouldn't it be great?
Systemic discrimination still exists, my guy.
Wow. Okay, so because of discrimination, that
Makes it not great.
automatically
Yeah.
offsets any greatness.
Yes. Why would it not?
Explain.
America.
Explain.
What do you mean explain? Is discrimination a good thing?
Explain. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you're
there you
saying
go.
it's
That's
so
it.
bad.
There you go. That's it.
So,
no, Paul, stop. That's it. Systemic discrimination makes it not great, and not only that, it's not even necessarily as safe, because we both know as Black men how we have to how we have to act around cops, and we both know, because we have Black women in our lives, that the doctors are basically what the cops are to us. Like infant mortality and infant mortality and childbirth mortality for Black women is astronomical in this country. So those are not good things, right? So until we change those things, those are not great. Yeah, sure. Like, I have electricity, and when I walk out my house, I don't have to be worried about speaking a certain language. Well, maybe nowadays I have to worry about speaking a certain language, or else I get shot because of what's going on with ICE. But yeah, sure. When I go outside, there aren't child soldiers over there shooting people for diamonds that they're going to sell to Europeans. Yeah, sure. That's not happening in America, right? That's all cool. That's all good and well. But when I go outside and a cop behind me and I'm afraid for my life, that's still a problem, isn't it?
Okay.
Like, I don't want to do oppression Olympics, bro. Like, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in doing oppression Olympics. It's worse over there, so over here is good. So that's not what I'm doing. Over here, with the conditions that we have, yeah, economically, I can make some money. Sociologically, I'm not going outside to a war zone. There's still issues here. That makes it not great. That's my point.
Okay, so are you okay? I understand your point. So you would be in search of perfection. What do you think could be wrong with the country, but would still have a great? Because every single country had a form of discrimination in some part or form. The Italians, when they first got here, was discriminated against. Mm-hmm. They were heavily the Irish were discriminated against. So I want to know what part, and they're not complaining about discrimination. So I want to know what would you say? Okay, this country can have this that's wrong with it and still be great, because in my opinion, I think discrimination is such a low hanging fruit, at least for Black people, because it's not stopping you from doing anything. It's not stopping you from doing anything. I don't know one scientist, one doctor, one entrepreneur, one real estate mogul who is black that has said discrimination has stopped me from getting to the point that I am at in my life. So you have to tell me what part or how serious is discrimination? What is it really stopping black people from doing?
Building wealth.
We just went over this, that they built wealth. We have the most
What is
millionaires.
what is the average wealth of a black family in America?
Well, when you I don't
$9,000. The average wealth of a black family in America is $5,000 and is trending towards zero by 2050. The average wealth of a white family is $125,000, and within the next 10 years, it will triple.
Okay, but when you say wealth, you mean like transferable assets and stuff like that. What is your definition of wealth?
Yeah, assets, liquid, all that.
Okay, so you're saying the average black family only has
$9,000 of wealth. Yes.
Okay, can you list your source, please? Because I like knowing these things.
I think it comes from the Department of Labor. Let me make sure. I think that's
where it comes from. Give me your source, and then also the source that white people make as much as you just claim, because these are good. If the information that you're putting out is accurate and true, then we can discuss, as to why those disparages exist, and we can get into the nucleus of it. But first, I gotta ascertain that the information you put out is true.
Yeah,
I can even comment.
Yeah, it comes from the Fed, the Federal Reserve, and it also comes from a study by the NCRC. Let me see. Oh, they studied. It's a study by organizations called the NCRC, the National Community and Reinvestment Coalition, and that was a study done in
NCRC.
2024.
And that study was done in 2024, and this is a non-profit organization that you're giving me, right? Because I'm looking at their website. This is a all right. Well, let's see who's made this, because I don't want any bias. Well, I can tell you right now, it's gonna be biased because it has coalition at the end.
Just because it has coalition doesn't mean it's biased. That's kind of silly, bro.
Well, no, it's not silly. Well, hear my point. I'm saying for the most part, these organizations, coalition, mean they're grouping themselves with someone else. So normally they take a stance on something, and they're just not putting information out there. Normally they do have a prescribed belief.
But you already admitted that redlining was a thing that happened, right? Because this is what they showed, that redlining is what caused this wealth gap. So, but you already know that. So, and they just back it up.
So where's the article? The article that you're referencing. I'm sorry, the article that you're referencing. Where is it saying that Black America only makes they only have $5,000 worth of wealth?
Oh, that's you wrong. It's about 9.
I want to follow you.
It's about 9,000. It's called the racial wealth gap, 1992 to 2022.
Okay, and what's the source to that? From these people, where did they get their source from? Is it from a .gov? Because I don't like dealing with .orgs. I don't like dealing with .coms or .orgs. I like dealing with .edus, PDFs, to where it's it has some collegiate research.
I mean, they had,
and I can.
It's like a 20-page paper, bro. They have all the sources, their methodology, all on the site, and they link redlining to exactly what this issue is. Like I'm not sure.
Okay.
Like I didn't do the study, so you have to overread it. But that's the conclusion of the study.
Okay, that's fair enough. We will definitely we'll have to digress, because we'll both research to see how deep we can get into how true it is. But yeah, I'll go on to the third on your list. Reparations for Black Americans. I think we're definitely going to be 50-50 split on here. I think we'll have some common ground, but to a certain extent. I believe, because you had a lot of Black inventors, Washington Carver, Susan B. Anthony. It's a lot of people who invented things that aren't receiving any residual income. They're not receiving any royalties from the things in which help produce the products that we have today. I don't believe a whole entire community should receive something that a group of other Black people. I don't think we should take responsibility for something that someone else did. So if you have the families of these people, you have the generations who may be alive today, I do think they should be paid something, especially, even the invention or the reinventing of the cotton gin. I think those people should be paid, circumvented for what they contributed to America. I do. But the reparations you're talking about, you mean just in a whole, all Black people should just be paid for slavery? Is that correct or no?
When it comes to the United States, I think specifically Black Americans should get reparations, not just for slavery, but for Black codes, for redlining, and for Jim Crow, because those are things that economically affected them. Now, me, I'm a descendant of Haitian immigrants, right? I don't think I should get the reparations from the United States. I think I should get reparations from France for slavery, for the indemnification, for economic and political interference, those things that politically and economically affected Haiti.
Okay. Okay, I understand. I would have to disagree to that point because, Great Britain were the first ones to abolish slavery.
Haiti was.
Well, Haiti, I mean, I can't get, stuck into, the historical inaccuracies from both sides. I can't.
Okay.
I don't
Haiti
like
did it in
art.
1804, Great Britain in 1835. So Haiti was first.
So Haiti was trafficking African slaves?
No. Haiti wasn't trafficking African slaves. They abolished it in their lands in 1804. And then Great Britain
I'm not
followed
talking about
after
slavery in general.
You're talking about this?
No. I'm talking about the transatlantic slave trade. That's what I'm referencing.
Oh,
I'm not talking about slavery as in a whole.
Yeah, trade. Yeah, the trade. They did that afterwards. The British did it after Haiti did it, because the Haitian Revolution affected all those issues. Everybody else started rebelling. I mean, there were always rebellions going on, but since Haiti was effective and the first one to be successful, that sent shockwaves everywhere. So everybody else just started saying, maybe we should abolish it.
So you're going to have to Africa, if you're talking about reparations for slavery, Africa is going to have to play a part in that too. They're going to have to pay because they played a big part in selling their people to the people who were trying to transport slaves back to the Americas. So Africa is going to have to play a part in that. So when do you start to say, okay, this African country owes reparations also, along with these Anglo-Saxon colonist countries? Where do you draw the line of who's going to be paying?
Right. The African kingdoms that participated, do they still exist?
The countries that participated in slavery, do they still exist?
Yeah, the Ashanti Kingdom, the Dahomey, do they still exist?
I mean, there's remnants of their kingdom still here, yeah, but that doesn't matter because all of the people that were from back then that participated in slavery from Great Britain, they're not here. So I don't think it would be wise.
I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the contiguous country.
The region.
Yeah, I'm talking about not just the region. I'm talking about the actual contiguous country, like the Dahomey Kingdom that was participating in the slave trade. That no longer exists. The wealth that was gained by them no longer exists. But the wealth that was gained from France and the UK from the slave trade, those do still exist. That's why France has the Eiffel Tower. All those do still exist. So how can we get reparations from a country that no longer exists? Like, it is a conversation to have. I'm not even against it, right? I'm not even against it. If the wealth that was gained in the slave trade is still exists within the wealth of some of the ethnic groups or some of the ethnic tribes or traditional kingdoms in Africa, if that wealth still exists, then yeah, that's a conversation to have of getting reparations from them too. But if it's no longer there, what are we gonna do?
Okay, yeah, because Africa built some of their wealth off trade. Every single country has participated in some form of slavery. And I don't want to say it because there's over 198 countries, and I can't digress to each country's history and show, hey, this is where slavery was. But every single country from the first century Rome participated in slavery. Every single country. What made our history, when it comes to Black history and American history, much more prominent and got much more notoriety, is because of the treatment of the slaves. And I know because you're a learned person, you know about the Willie Lynch letters, and how the white man from the West Indies, they reached out to him to see how he controlled his slaves through flogging, castration, through lynching. The name lynching comes from his name. So, the point I'm trying to make is every single country that participated in slavery, those people have moved on from slavery. The only one that are still really harping on slavery and trying to receive some type of financial reimbursement is our people, the Black community. And I think it's a waste of time, because W.E.B. Du Bois said it's a foolish waste of time to try to compel a majority to do something that they are set not to do.
Right. No,
so I think it is a waste of time.
Yeah, my bad.
You can go.
No, I get that point, right? I'm not even like, I don't even have a huge beef with it, because there are people who said that we shouldn't even concentrate on trying to get reparations. We should, just try to build ourselves up, because they're never going to give it to us, and the way that it happened is much too complicated for it to happen now. I get that. That's not something that I have. I don't have a beef with that position. The reason why I think it still should happen, is because the effects of slavery still last until this day. Like, for example, the entire criminal stereotype of Black people, that came from slavery. You know what I mean? Like the way that we're dehumanized in the United States, just the Western world period, not just the United States, but just the Western world period, it came from slavery. You know what I mean? Like the little social attitudes I'm talking about when it comes to discrimination and building wealth and everything, all that, that's where it all came from. So it still affects us until this day, which is why I think that the best way in order to rectify that is to have reparations, not just, a cash payment out, but changing of the systems, the way the education system works, the way the criminal justice system works in America. All that should be part of reparations in order to change it. But as far as we should probably just work between ourselves, because, these motherfuckers are never going to give us nothing. Let's just work between ourselves in order to build that power. I don't have beef with that. Like, not at all. I think we could do both of them at once, in my opinion. But that's why I advocate for. I said this should still happen, because it's the right thing to do. The government broke the Black American community, so they should be the one to repair it. But if we're of the attitude of we need to start focusing on ourselves and maybe advocate for this on the side, I'll have a beef with that.
Okay. So, and you said the Western countries, they all participated in racism, which is true. They all participated in some form of prejudice. But the country in which you listed for Black people to go to, which would be Canada and the UK, those countries are still in the West.
Yeah.
So those countries, in retrospect to your premise, would still be bad for Black America. So I think the best place for us to say is more than likely the U.S. Reparations should be sought after on more of a more logical, coherent, relevant projection than just this broad statement of handing out money to all Black people in America because of, racial disparities. I believe if you go after, like the inventors, I think that's a big deal. I think KFC, should be playing the Black mother who came up with those, the recipes who they sold to Colonel Sanders or whatever for, however much money. And they made billions and billions of dollars off of it. I think that family should be receiving some type of compensation for their contribution to that food chain.
Agreed.
And if you go through history, if you go and you all you got to do is research the person who invented
The light bulb.
Alexander Graham, not Alexander, not Alexander Graham Bell, but him also, the telephone, but the traffic light, the
The traffic
traffic
light.
light.
No,
So,
all this I agree with you. Like I'm disagree at all. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, all that. Yeah, 100%. Agree.
yeah, they should search those families. Get Garrett Morgan. I remembered his name, Garrett Morgan, who invented the traffic light.
Mm-hmm.
They should research the lineage of the family tree of these people, and that is who I believe should be receiving reparations, because they didn't receive a dime for their contributions.
I agree with that.
So
I'm not. I don't have beef with that at all. But I think if we go down the line, like, and you were to find out that your father or grandfather were also discriminated against and redlining, I think you should be compensated for that as well too. But you don't have to agree with me on that point. But like, if you found out that your grandparents were redlined against, I think you should receive compensation. But if you don't want that,
why are you against redlining though? Why are you against like redlining? Like,
redlining was a program to purposely keep Black people poor. It wasn't that the Black people couldn't get the loans or couldn't pay back the loans. They just didn't give it to them. And when they did, they gave them higher interest rates, just like how you said earlier, like predatory loans, give them higher interest rates knowing they can't pay it in order for them to fail and get the housing and land back. Like, that's what it was all. That's what redlining was all about. So if you found out that happened in your lineage, like your personal lineage, like it happened to your grandfather or even your father, then yeah, you should be compensated for that, because that was like the government was involved in doing that. Like, they literally gave guidelines to it. Not just the government, but also Citigroup. Well, Citigroup actually affected Haiti. Like, a lot of people don't know that, but Citigroup, JP Morgan, Chase, all of them were involved in doing that. You know what I mean? So I think if we have a program of finding out that my grandfather or my father was discriminated against by a higher interest rate in their housing, or their house was appraised discriminatorily, it was appraised like in a racist fashion, or they were just redlined out, you know what I mean, then yeah, I think you should receive some compensation from the state because of that.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree, but when it comes to being a financial risk, because redlining was all the way back from the sometime in the 1900s. So they found out that when they did give out these loans, that they could not pay them back. So some aspects of redlining, I don't even like using that term, but I think there is a way in which you should deny loans based on, the person's economical status, because if they can't pay it back, then they'll foreclose on your home. And then, you'll be, you can possibly end up being homeless. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about, so-called reparations for contribution, not institution. Meaning, I don't want us to receive reparations based off of some so-called supposed Black institutionalized racism. I would rather have reparations given through the contributions that we did to America. To me, I believe it sounds so much more coherent to go about that argument in that way than to say, hey, you need to give us money because if that's the case, Genghis Khan, all of the people who were mutilated and murdered by those conquerors and those people from back then, they could say, well, hey, the Mongols, they owe this group, or, and I just think you would get lost in the weeds trying to check and balance every single person that's ever discriminated or ever done evil or wrong to a certain group or community.
I think the reason why that won't apply is because when it comes to Black America, we literally still see those effects. Like I said, with the wealth gap, that literally came from redlining. So the effects are still apparent. Redlining is what caused like O Block, up in Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's not something that happened thousands of years ago, and Genghis Khan doesn't exist anymore, even though 1% of his descendants are still alive today. You know what I mean? It's not something like that. That's like that. It's something that is still, even though it was made illegal 40 years ago, it still affects us today. You know what I mean? Much of the contemporary issues that African Americans have is tied to that era. So if we're still living the effects of that era, why should not go back and repair it? That doesn't really compare to like everyone else in and that had those issues, probably except for Native Americans. I would say Native Americans are probably the only other group in America that are still affected by by the eras past. But everyone else is
Native
really
Americans owned slaves too.
Yeah, they did. They really did, and I'm not sure how those reparations would happen. I wouldn't be able to explain that, to tell you the truth. But when it comes to the government policies that affected Black Americans, redlining and Jim Crow would be one of the main ones that I think that we can still rectify. Because we still see
the
effects of today.
Do you think there's still remnants? You think there's still remnants of Jim Crowism? And you said institutionalized racism. I would like for you, because I don't believe there is a specific institution set up just to disparage Black people. I believe the institutions that are set up are not used in a correct, meaningful way. And yes, it can disproportionately affect certain communities, especially the Black community. So when you say institutionalized racism and systems, can you explain exactly what systems and what you mean?
We already went through real estate, but there's also employment in the United States of America. We see that's heavily discriminatory. Like I said, you can have the same education, the same experience, and still be discriminated against in the job market. There's also the healthcare system. That's a big one. Where there's heavy discrimination in there, where Black patients are treated more as if they're drug seeking. Black pregnant women have a higher rate of infant mortality. Even Black babies are more likely to die at the hands of a white doctor than they are in a Black doctor. That was a study made back in 2019. I'm not sure if they updated it till now. The criminal justice system, we see that all the time, right? People usually say that the reason why Black perps get longer sentences is because they're more likely to have a longer rap sheet. They even looked into that. They compared the rap sheet of a Black Black convict and a white convict.
Yeah.
And even when they have a similar rap sheet, they found that the Black convict still gets a longer sentence. So there's discrimination happening there.
So,
you see what I mean? So all of those are
so
also,
can I just touch on that?
Yeah. 1 second. Also, the exoneration rates show that the exoneration rates between the arrest rate and the exoneration rate are basically the same. Like when it comes to murder, right? Black people represent about 52 to 55% of the arrests for murder, but we're also about 55% of the exonerations for murder. You know what I'm saying? So it shows that we're arrested more, but we're also convicted wrongly more of the same crime, which shows an issue there. You see what I mean?
Okay, no, understandable. I appreciate how you laid all of that out. I just wanted to, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I just wanted to say, when you said the system with redlining, just so we both understand that redlining was for financial risk, people who in which they discriminated against, and did not give loans because they thought they would be a financial risk. And the ending of itself, face value, I don't believe there's anything wrong with that. However, if there were people, and I don't have the statistics, if there were people who did have good credit, who were, able to pay back that loan and stuff, and they said, well, just strictly because of your skin color, we're not going to give you the loan, would definitely be problematic, but it would also not make sense because banks only make money off of debt. So it would behoove them to actually sell debt, which, that's what they do on a day-to-day basis. But if they sell debt and they know those people will become delinquent or default on that loan, the bank would actually be losing money, especially if the people they don't have anything of value to hold up for collateral. Okay. So redlining and face value, I don't think it's as bad as you say. But I'm going to digress because
Okay,
I just want to get to all
I
of the
got you.
other
But
great points you made.
I got you. But there's two issues with that, right? What you said about, they were just discriminating because of their skin color. That's exactly what happened on the redlining. And like, you can really prove it because exactly what you said, they did have the money for it. They just denied them. I'm same thing with the GI Bill.
Okay.
With the GI Bill, when black soldiers came back and the GI Bill was set up, they just denied them. It wasn't just like, they didn't have anything to have collateral. It was just, you're black, you're denied. And the second thing is that when I understand, like, it wouldn't make sense for a bank to discriminate against it, right? That it doesn't seem to make sense. But at the end of the day, racism is not rational. If you're making decisions through that lens, you're not going to make a rational decision. Yeah. And not only that, racism can still be monetized. I mean, if most of the market doesn't want to be around a certain people, you can still monetize that racism and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and sell you the debt, just like how you said, we'll go ahead and sell you the loan because it's away from black people. You know what I'm saying? You can monetize racism still, you feel me? But you did want to move on to the next thing. We've been on for almost 30 minutes. So I may have to
I
move
think
on
your
in a
group
bit.
is loving it, man. They're not kicking us off.
Yeah.
But I will jump to your last your last 2 points that you made, where can you give a reason to believe in your God or a God? I don't know. Are you atheist, agnostic?
I'm an agnostic atheist, yeah.
Agnostic. Well, that's contradicting.
No, not really. Because
atheist,
like
an agnostic claims to not know or know, and the atheist claims to know.
No, an atheist.
There's no God that exists.
No, an atheist is just lack of belief.
Atheistic. Okay. Well, in my view, disbeliefs in the existence of God, you're asserting that there is no God, whereas agnostic says, well, I don't know. I don't know anything, so I really have no opinion. God could exist or God couldn't exist. Right. Atheist is a disbelief in that existence, so that's why I said it's a bit contradicting.
Right,
but that's
not a contradiction. But what I'm saying is that's not a contradiction because I don't know whether or not a God exists or not. Right, I can't claim one way or another, but I don't believe in one. So there's no contradiction there.
Okay. So you know what an agnostic is somebody that does not know if God exists. An atheist claims there is no, substantial evidence to believe in God. Therefore, they don't exist.
No, I'm not claiming. Right, but the atheism is simply a lack of belief because theism is a belief, right? So atheism is without belief. That's what it is. So I'm without a belief in a God, but I can't claim to know whether one not exists or not. So the agnostic part is I don't know whether one exists or not. I can't make the claim. The atheism part is I don't believe in one. Yeah, I would be agnostic and atheist because atheism is lack of belief. I don't believe in one, so that makes me an atheist.
Okay, no problem. Well, in your worldview, how do you justify morality and ethics? Where does your ethics and morality stem from?
Empathy and consequences as a broad overall view. It's more complicated than that, but overall, to put it simply, empathy and the consequences.
Empathy and the consequences. Okay. So what if you get someone who does not care? Because in Hitler's worldview during the Holocaust, he didn't have empathy. Or his empathy was only shared amongst, his fellow people, the Nazis, and, whoever, helped him in his, atrocities and stuff. So someone who does not view empathy as to how you view it, how would you justify that? How would you justify Hitler's Holocaust?
You can't.
So therefore, I mean, but you know that would
wait. I'm sorry, Chris. Did you use the wrong word? Because you said how would I justify Hitler's Holocaust? I don't think you can justify Hitler's Holocaust. because of the negative consequences. Did you use the wrong word?
Okay, but you but you said it's through empathy. So how your morals come through empathy,
and
sharing.
empathy and
Yeah, you share the
consequences.
same feelings.
Right. So
Yeah.
when it comes to Hitler, his actions had extremely negative consequences. So there's no way to justify that, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he was empathetic to his soldiers to a certain extent. His soldiers that were going out there committing these atrocities. I'm pretty sure he was empathetic to them. So that's his world view.
Right.
So if you
right. So my empathy, right. His empathy only is his empathy and his thought of consequences only like extended to his ideology, right? That's not what I'm doing. Like my entire thing is that I want to uplift the well-being of all humankind. Eliminating 6 million people just because they're of a certain ethnic and religion group does not fall in line with that. That's huge negative consequences.
You have no principle belief that you can hang that on. That is your opinion. You, as a single Homo sapien individual, what is your basis for your beliefs?
The consequence,
as far as it comes to empathy.
Right. One, I'm a human. All humans have empathy, except for the people who have ASPD or are sociopaths. Because we're empathetic human beings, we all want to live in a happy, safe environment, right? So, like, in order to do that, antagonizing my neighbors or eliminating 6 million people from the world is not a very good way for me to it's counterproductive to that goal, right? And not only that,
where are you getting that from?
What do you mean? Am I getting what from?
Where are you getting that? Like, for me, as a Christian, I believe, because in the Bible, it falls in line with the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. So I have a reason or something that adjudicates my beliefs, and that's the word of God. So when it says don't kill, I know what Hitler did was wrong because I'm going off of what the Bible said. Right. So Hitler don't believe what he did was wrong.
No,
he was in his own worldview. So
right.
How were you receiving your
how do I know what he did was wrong?
Principle for ethics.
How do I know what he did was wrong? Because of the negative consequences it had. 50 million people are no longer alive.
Well,
that's a bad thing.
From the river to the sea, Palestine doesn't believe Israel should be here.
Right.
So how was it wrong?
Israel shouldn't exist even according to their own religion, because Israel can't come back until the Messiah comes, and the Messiah didn't come in their religion. So even according to their own religion, Israel shouldn't exist.
Okay, so why is what Hitler believed any different than what the Palestinians believe of not having Israel on the map?
Because they're not calling for the elimination of an entire ethnic group from the planet.
They did.
Sure. Hamas is.
Can I share a video?
No. Hamas is. I'm not going to say that Hamas doesn't. Hamas does. Probably Hezbollah does as well. But the Palestinians in general, that's not the case. As a matter of fact, I don't even think for the Israelis in general. You can find Israelis that say that the Palestinians should all be wiped off the map too. But that doesn't mean that Israelis, period, believe that. Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure that you'll find videos of a few Palestinians that say all Jews should be wiped off the map. I'm pretty sure you'll find videos of Jewish Israelis saying all Palestinians should be wiped off the map. Sure, there are people who believe in disgusting things, but I don't believe those groups of people in general believe that. Yeah, I mean that's that. I don't believe that the Palestinians are necessarily Hitler, because they don't think that Israel should be on their land.
Okay, and that's understandable. I was just trying to, make the point that, and when you give an objective appraisal on morality and ethics, right, and you are the sole person who determines what is so-called good and what is so-called bad, I believe you leave yourself in a truncate area to where you're confined to only what you believe, and your views can be flawed. I think you need to have something outside of yourself, because men and all men have sinned and come short of the glory of God.
Okay,
so
here's two things I would say. I got you. Here's two things I would say. Yeah. You're in my same position. because like at the end of the day, what you believe is based off of an arbitrary being. So if tomorrow God were to come down and said eating babies is fine, that would be moral according to you because God said it. So, but the second thing that I would
we
say,
already have God's word that doesn't say
hold
that.
on, that's the second thing that I was going to come to. You don't know if that's true or not. You can't prove a God exists.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, go ahead.
I can prove a God exists. See what
okay.
atheist.
I want you to do this for me. I want you to do this for me. I want you to do this for me.
Okay.
I can prove the moon exists because we can look into a telescope and you can see it. How do you prove that God exists?
Okay. How do you prove that air exists? Can you see air?
Yes, molecules.
How do you prove your heart? How do you prove your heart exists?
X-rays.
You take your heart out of your chest every single day?
Yes, X-rays.
You get an X-ray every single day to make sure your heart.
No,
exists.
we don't get an X-ray every
day.
Hold on, listen. You're not actually answering my question. So we can prove that air exists through molecules, right? They're air molecules.
And we can prove that.
We can prove out. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
We can prove my heart exists because we all know how biology works. Without the heart, your brain would die in 5 minutes. So when it comes to a being that created the universe, that somehow exists outside of space and time, that made himself into a baby and then died on the cross and rose in 3 days, how do we actually prove all that is real? How do we do that? Because we can't go back in time.
Okay.
So there's no way you can go talk to Jesus yourself. So how do you prove that he actually healed the blind man?
And there's no way you can go back in time and prove that a Big Bang existed. Everybody thinks that the burden of proof lies on the Christian, and it doesn't. You're an atheist. You scientifically notate everything. You need everything as a basis off evidence.
We have evidence of the Big Bang.
So you tell me, and hold on. And in order for your so-called theory, and keyword theory of evolution.
Okay, so you don't know what theory is?
It was never a basis of fact, right? Because it's a theory. And then secondly, you can be able to replicate if what you're saying is true. The thing that makes science and so-called factual is that you can take it, break it down to its molecule state, and then you can replicate it.
Okay, let me read something to you. Let me read something to you. All right, let me read something to you. A scientific theory is an explanation of an aspect of the natural world that can be or has been repeatedly tested and has corroborating evidence in accordance with the scientific model. So what would you call that?
Okay, I'll read it again. I'm so sorry. I'm listening.
A scientific theory is an explanation of an aspect of the natural world that can or has been repeatedly tested and has corroborating evidence in accordance with the scientific model. If something has been repeatedly tested and has corroborating evidence, what do you call that?
How did they test the Big Bang? How did they test the Big Bang?
Yeah, they looked out into the universe and they saw. No. Yes, they did. That's exactly how they proved it. They looked out. Yes, they did. This is exactly how they proved. They looked out into the universe and they saw that everything was redshifting. When things are redshifting, that means they're moving away from each other, right?
Okay, I'm listening.
And there's also the cosmic microwave background radiation. The cosmic microwave background radiation shows that everything is radiating out in all light years. Basically, everything is pushing away from each other. The cosmic microwave background radiation is the basic proof that the Big Bang happened. Ooh.
Okay, so who created the Big Bang? Something cannot come from nothing. So who created it?
Why is it a who? How come it can't be a what?
What? What created it?
We don't know.
Oh, hold on. It sounds like you're using this word that Christians use every single day, faith. It sounds like your faith. Your faith is in your theology. You just said you don't know.
Yeah, but that does. But I'm not making a claim. I'm not making a claim. I didn't say any. I didn't make a claim on what created the Big Bang. But we know the Big Bang happened through the evidence that we have. We know that it happened through the evidence of the cosmic.
How? When?
The cosmic microwave background radiation. That's one proof.
Okay.
And galaxies redshifting.
Okay.
That's another proof. So we know things are so when we know things are pushing away from each other, we also know that they had to be you can reverse it and see that everything was close together at a certain point, right? That's just basic math.
Okay.
But the second thing that I would say is that when you say what or who caused it, we don't know what or who caused it, but I'm not making a claim of what or who caused it. So wait, hold on, wait, stop. No, you don't.
You don't have to make a claim to have faith.
Okay, I'll mute you real quick. That's not how faith works. You have to actually be making some sort of claim to show that you have to make a claim of a certain phenomenon. According to you, God made the Big Bang. That's faith, because there is no evidence of a God yet, or at all, actually. I should say. When it comes to the Big Bang, we do have evidence of that. When it comes to what caused it, we don't know, but we're not making any claim on what caused it. If I were to make a claim on what caused it without any evidence at all, then that would be faith. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to try to give you a syllogistic breakdown of type of faith.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I didn't make a claim on hold on, stop. I didn't make a claim on what caused the Big Bang, so therefore no faith is included.
Okay.
We don't have to do any.
That's fine. I'm going to tell you. Okay, I have a theological faith, right? I would say you have an implicit trust, faith. You have a reliance on something that has not been proven. You cannot give me proof of how the Big Bang was created. We both use.
But I didn't make a claim. I didn't make that claim. But I didn't make that claim.
But you don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
I didn't make a claim on what caused the Big Bang. So you saying that I have a faith on what caused the Big Bang is stupid, because I didn't make a claim. I didn't say what caused the Big Bang, did I? So you can't say that I have faith in what caused the Big Bang if I didn't make a claim on what caused it. That's ridiculous.
Okay. All I'm saying is you just said, I'm going off of your statement, you do not know what caused the Big Bang. That is an implicit.
I don't know.
Trust. Okay, so that is it. If you do not know, but you're still relying on something that does not have proof, because you just said you don't know what caused it.
We don't know what caused it, but we know that it happened. That's the thing. We don't know what caused it, but we know that it happened because we have evidence that it happened. What caused it is a completely different question. You can't say that I'm relying on something that has no proof. I don't know what caused the Big Bang, so I can't say that. Oh, it was an alien called Q-Pax. If I were to say that, then you would have a point that said, okay, you have faith because you can't prove Q-Pax. But if I say the Big Bang happened, yeah, we have evidence of the Big Bang happening, but we don't know what caused it. Saying I don't know what caused it is not faith.
So you have evidence of the Big Bang happening, but you don't have evidence, and you don't have the know-how
of what caused it. Correct.
What caused it.
Correct.
That makes absolutely no sense. You tell me where that's relevant in the real world, to where we have evidence that something that what you said, this big astronomical event took place, but we have no evidence of what or who may have caused it.
There's not a lot of things. I won't be able to tell.
Okay. So only point I'm gonna make is, like I said before, I mentioned there is no way for you to scientifically duplicate. They can clone, they can do all of these things. If they have all of the evidence in the world that the Big Bang happened, they would absolutely be able to put science, in evidence, and they would be able to recreate the Big Bang.
Yeah, have you ever heard of particle colliders?
All of these things. Ever heard of what?
A particle collider, CERN. You ever heard of that?
Absolutely not. Explain.
Yeah, CERN is a particle collider. What they do is that they take particles like quarks and leptons.
I do. I have heard.
Yeah, and they collide them together and to see what happens. And what they see, what happens is basically the conditions that we see from the Big Bang. So they actually have recreated it.
Awesome. So stars, they created stars, planets, life, humans, animals.
No. Because they blip out of existence within like a few milliseconds and stuff like that. But the conditions, basically the heat, the things that we would see from the conditions of the early Big Bang, they're able to recreate it in CERN. But something like this, you have to talk to a particle physicist, because I'm only explaining a very simple part of it. You should talk to a particle physicist. Yeah. And this is the thing that I've always said, right? With Christians, when it comes to people who don't believe, we have to be experts in biology and astrophysics and all these things for you to believe it. But you can go. You just go talk. You just go to a university and talk to an astrophysicist and ask them, "Hey, how does the Big Bang work, and what proof do we have of it?" And they'll explain it to you. Like, why are you asking me?
I live daily. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I do not need to see. I do not need to see in order to believe.
Great.
I
Did
believe
the
in
Greeks
order
have
to
faith?
cease.
Did the Greeks have faith?
Did the what?
Did the Greeks have faith?
Did the Greeks have faith? And what
In
period
Zeus.
in Zeus? You're asking me if the Greeks had faith in Zeus.
Yes.
I guess you break it down for me. I can see your
The
point.
Greeks absolutely had faith in Zeus because they built temples to him. We see the temples, right? So they had faith in
You
Zeus.
can have faith in the wrong thing.
Let me
I never
finish.
said you can't.
Let me finish. They had faith in Zeus, and we know they have faith in Zeus because they built temples to them. And something that we even do still to this day, the Olympic Games were all to worship Zeus. So they all had faith, right? And just like how you said, you can have faith in the wrong thing. You can have absolute faith and be wrong, which means faith is unreliable. You need something more.
No, but faith in the right thing is not unreliable.
How do you know what you're saying is? How do you know you're right? How do you know you're right? How do you tell the difference between? Hold on. How do you tell the difference between the wrong thing you have faith in and the right thing you have faith in? What do you do? What do you need?
Well, it's going to be self-conviction. It's going to be the spirit. If the spirit of God.
Do you have evidence of a spirit?
There's
sure. What's the evidence of a spirit?
Absolute evidence. It's metaphysics, and I know you sound like a learned man.
Metaphysics is not evidence, bro.
Okay, but it's dealing outside of the physical realm. There's a spiritual realm.
Okay, prove a spiritual realm, bro.
There's things that take place in this world that happen outside of
physical reality.
Domain.
Great. How do you prove that?
Physical reality. It's easy. You look at every single athlete. I want you list your greatest so-called atheists in the world, and I'm going to list my greatest athletes, my greatest accomplishers in the world, and let's juxtapose your group of people, your group of so-called atheists, against my group of people who actually accomplished much in this world.
That doesn't prove anything.
I'm going to start off with.
Hold on, Chris, stop. This is ridiculous. That doesn't prove anything. You can list off a whole. Hold on, no, it doesn't prove anything. You can list off a whole bunch of people who accomplish many great things, or who are huge athletes and are billionaires. That doesn't make a God exist. So what?
Yeah, we're not talking. We're saying strictly faith. They have faith in the supreme being.
So what?
And therefore,
that doesn't make a God exist. But that doesn't make a God exist. Yeah, faith can make you do things. Hold on, wait. Faith can make you do great things. No one is denying that. That doesn't make what you have faith in true.
Yeah, Charles Darwin's wife, who wrote the book on so-called your evolution theory. His wife was Christian. After his daughter died.
No, wait. The deathbed confession? That's a lie. His daughter said that never happened.
Okay. Well, now I can't argue history or genealogy because we'll just be both going around in a circle.
Yeah, his daughter said that never happened. So if you're gonna say that Darwin had a deathbed confession, his daughter said that never happened.
Charles Darwin's daughter. You talked to Charles Darwin's daughter. She already died. How could she say it didn't happen? Because
she already gave out a statement before she died and said that this wasn't true. Because what you're saying was a rumor around when she was alive, and she said that didn't happen.
Okay. So I got to hear this. This is you giving me. This is mind blowing. You're telling me Charles Darwin's daughter did what again? Say it again.
What you're saying, right? That Charles Darwin had a deathbed confession. That was a rumor that was going around when Charles Darwin's daughter was alive, and she had to come out and said that never happened.
A 10-year-old girl came out and said, and you are blowing my mind. She died at the age of 10, and a 10-year-old girl had the knowledge in order to put out so-called a press release. What you're saying is wrong, and I know you know it, and you were hoping that I didn't have my information on this, but you're telling me a 10-year-old girl so-called put out a press release that, hey, what exactly are you saying? Break it down to me about this 10-year-old girl who died at 10 years. You realize
that Darwin had more than one child, correct?
Okay, so I'm talking about the girl who was 10, of course.
All right, so there were people who were around Darwin when he was dying, and he had other children who were present. And I'm talking about his
Okay,
daughter,
he had other
Henrietta.
children.
He had other children. I'm talking about his daughter, Henrietta Litchfield. Litchfield. That's Darwin's daughter. Henrietta Litchfield.
Okay. All right. So what age did she die?
Henrietta Litchfield. Let me look that up. Give me 1 second. Henrietta Litchfield, born 1843, died 1927. So close to her 40s, I'm thinking. Or actually, her close to her 80s. Henrietta Litchfield was Darwin's daughter, and she died at 80. She was the one that told. She was the one that said that he didn't say that. Henrietta Litchfield. So she didn't die at 10.
Obviously because she's an atheist. Okay, so she has.
So she's just lying.
She has to.
Come on, that's that. No. Stop. Because you first said that what I claimed about Darwin's daughter is incorrect, and then I actually gave you the name of Darwin's daughter who died at 80 and said that's incorrect. And now you're saying that she's just lying. 80?
His daughter died. His wife, they put in her
bro. Again. Henrietta Litchfield is the daughter of Charles Darwin, and she was born in 1843 and died in 1927. Okay. That's 84 years old. She was there at Darwin's deathbed. She said that didn't happen.
It doesn't matter what she says. The wife of Charles Darwin said it did.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move on because I'm not dealing with this. All right. So what's his name? Hey, Shaman, you had someone before you, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to you in a second. All right. I've been on that with that person for an hour. That's my longest call, and I had to move on, y'all. I'm sorry. I had to move on. Okay. When it comes to Darwin's wife, he also said that didn't happen. So Darwin's wife never said that. All right. And the person who claimed that Darwin confessed is called Lady of Hope. And she wasn't there, according to Darwin's entire family. So that's a lie. All right. Let's move on. 718. How's it going, 718? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Hello?
Yeah. Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. I do disagree. And
what's your name?
I'm not disagreeing to debate. Kwaku.
Yeah. Kwaku?
Yes.
All right, Kwaku. Yeah. So what did you disagree with?
Yeah. So my thing is, I'm not even going to debate. I'm not into that. I just want to share some thoughts with you about why I believe God is real. And I'm not going to go to history and all that. You're my brother. And I just want you to think about this when you go to sleep tonight. Think about it very well. Now, what I want to say is, I'm in the medical field. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you for a fact, doctors, scientists, none of them, you can research this. They have never been able to create an actual heart. The organs that we have in our body, they can only ask for a transplant when somebody needs help. You can only transplant and get somebody else's heart. So the question is, who do you think made the heart and the brain? For example, when you study the heart, the chambers of the heart, the atria, how the blood flows, oxygenated blood, deoxygenated blood, how it circulates to the lungs. Who do you think is the mastermind behind this? Because they have never been able to, no scientists have ever created a heart with blood running through it, ever.
We have artificial hearts.
Ever. No, I'm not talking about artificial hearts, bro. I'm talking about the actual heart. I'm not talking about pacemakers and all that.
You're talking about like a biological
biological heart.
Right.
Yes.
I got you. Yes. Yeah, because those are very, very difficult to make, right? So, but that doesn't mean that. Hold on. I understand those are some things like that, like 3D printed hearts that are biological. Those are something that are like extremely difficult, right? That's all good and well. We don't have the technology to do that yet, but that doesn't show me how the God exists just because we haven't done that.
Yeah, but why though? Why haven't scientists all these years been able to create a human being with a heart in him, or even blood? Why do we have to get samples and then know their blood type?
Yeah, because something like that. Hold on. Let me explain. The reason why is because like the human body and biological bodies are very, very complex, right? Like all these entire processes you're talking about, they involve not just the organs, they involve cells, they involve molecules. You have to put all those things together in a certain fashion, and we just don't have the technology to do that yet. We're getting very close, but we don't have the technology to do that. But just because we haven't done that yet doesn't mean that a God exists, and doesn't mean that we were designed or anything like that either. It's just something that we evolved, right? So it's We need to actually have evidence that a God exists first before we actually make the claim that because the heart and the body does what it does, therefore gods exist. Yeah, I mean, people used to think that lightning was Shango or Zeus, but we know that those things don't exist, right?
Greek mythology is something totally different because it's false.
Right, exactly.
I lived in Europe for 5 years. I know what I'm telling you. Greek mythology is different. The Zeus and all those gods are just fictional characters.
So, quick.
You understand?
Quick. I'm the reason I want to interrupt. I just want you to understand what I'm saying. People back then didn't know why certain things happen. Hold on, quick. People back then didn't know why certain things happen, right? And now today, we don't know how to put a biological heart into a like we don't know how to make one. We can make artificial hearts. We can't make biological ones yet. But just because we don't have that knowledge doesn't mean that a God exists. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so how many years do human beings need to be able to know how to build a heart?
Probably
because scientists have been around for so many years.
Probably about another 10 to 15 because we have 3D printing things now, and we've been able to 3D print like some biological things. I think they were able to 3D print. I think they were able to 3D print an organ a few years ago. As a matter of fact, they were able to 3D print an organ. Hold on, give me a second. 3D printed organ.
Bro, 3D printer is not the natural organ. But anyway, let me explain something to you.
They've been trying to 3D print organs for a while now.
I want to explain something to you about God. Right now, we can trace the history of Hippocrates, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Archimedes, all these Greek philosophers. We can trace their practice, right? You know how? From the work that we have in modern day now. If you read these books that existed so many centuries ago, you can directly relate those works and say, oh, we have this building because of Pythagoras' theorem, because that dimension A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. We can use those dimensions in building houses, roofs, even satellites. You understand? And the direction we see from satellites to the Earth, we can use the Pythagoras theorem. But me and you never met Pythagoras. Me and you never met Socrates and Plato and Hippocrates, where every doctor takes a Hippocratic oath. But he never went to school to get a degree. Now, why am I making references to these historical figures? Jesus Christ, who me and you and I never met, but he was real. How is he real? Now, when you read the Bible and you want to know that he's real, you can take a trip to Jerusalem, Bethlehem. You will see the gravestone where he was buried and he's not there anymore. Pharaohs who existed before Jesus Christ. You have remnants of pharaohs in the pyramids, the pharaoh kings and queens that lived in Egypt. You understand? Jesus Christ's body is not in the grave.
Yeah,
it's not there. And I guarantee you, go to Israel right now, and you will find out that he's not there. Where he was crucified, where he slept.
Okay, so quick, slow down. All right, yeah. So we know about all these historical figures, and we know Jesus was a historical figure because of extra biblical text, not just because of the Bible. Because the Bible can claim anything, that doesn't make it true. But the reason why we know Jesus exists is because of an extra biblical text. I think by Tacitus, he's our extra biblical test to know that Jesus existed. But just because Jesus existed doesn't mean that he had wizard powers, right? And just because we don't know where his body is, hold on. Just because we don't know where his body is doesn't mean that he resurrected. You actually have to prove that he resurrected. Not knowing where his body is just a claim. Hold on, wait. Just because we don't know where his body is doesn't mean there was a magical resurrection. It doesn't mean that. You actually have to show that a resurrection happened. Saying we don't know where his body is doesn't show that.
Okay. Now, the reason why I give this historical fact about these Greek philosophers and scientists, tell you something that the Bible tells us about Jesus, that in principle, you will have an encounter with him, which I did. And I'm going to tell you right now, my mother did as well. My father did. My older brother did. And I'm going to tell you something now, bro. This is not a matter of, it's not a joking matter. When you read this book, same way you could read a book by Buddhism, a book for the Muslims, if Muhammad is able to appear to you and tell you this is what is going on and follow me and read the 5 pillars of Islam, then you know Islam is real. If you read the book of Buddhism and the same, Buddhists will tell you this. The reason why I tell you this is because when you read the Bible, and the Bible tells you about salvation through Jesus Christ, and you practice what the Bible is telling you, bro, you will understand that what I'm saying is the truth. It's not about a historical point, because everybody can write history. Nobody was there when Jesus Christ and the disciples were. But when we practice the teachings of that word of God, you see how your life will fall. And let me give you an example.
Hey, quick, let me ask you an example. Quick, let me ask you another question. Hold on, wait, quick, let me ask you a question. If I were to follow the text of Shintoism, does that mean that the Japanese gods exist?
because the Japanese God can save you.
Hold on. Listen to him. Listen to my
You understand
question.
what I'm saying?
Hold on. Listen to my question. Listen to my question. If I were to follow if I were to follow the tenets of Shintoism and I was able to live a good moral life, does that mean that the gods of Shintoism exist?
That is what I'm explaining to you. Now, that God that you're talking about,
I'm just asking a yes or no question, bro. Hold on, wait, hold on. Listen, Kwaku. I'm asking. You're not answering my question. The question. Hold on, listen.
No, I'm
The question.
you,
Hold on, Kwaku. The question that I'm asking is a Kwaku. I'm going to, but the question that I'm asking you is a yes or no. If I were to follow, hold on, it is a yes or no answer. If I follow a religion and I'm living a moral life, does that make that religion true?
It's not a no or yes answer, bro.
That's a yes or no question because you just said it. Hold on. Wait. It is a yes or no question. It is a yes or no question. Hold on. It is a yes or no question. It is a yes or no question because you just brought up Islam and you're not a Muslim, right? But there's plenty of Muslims out there. There are 1.4 billion Muslims out there in the world who follow Islam faithfully. Is Islam true just because Muslims follow it?
No.
Exactly. So when you brought up the entire thing about if you follow this book, you would see that it's true. Even according to you, that's not true. Because Islam isn't true, even though they follow it. You need to actually prove salvation is true first, bro.
I'm not talking about reading the book. I'm talking about salvation.
What? I got you. Quick, I got you. So my next question would be, how do you actually show that salvation is true first? How do you show that?
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to show you now. So I died. I literally died. It was probably asphyxiation of the lungs. My airway was blocked. So now they put me on blood pressure medication and sleep apnea machine. This happened in Amityville, New York. And what happened was I was with a client, came to the room to sit down. I got tired. I believe I had a mini stroke. And then I thought I was going to the bathroom. My spirit left my body, literally left my body whilst I was going to, and I realized I was dead. In a few seconds, just like having a car accident or a stroke or heart attack, I was dead. I tried to turn, and when I turned, I got stuck. And my left eye saw my body in that chair. Now, to the layman, somebody will say, "Oh, what is this guy talking about?" Bro, I'm not on drugs. I'm not on anything. I'm not on anything for me to hallucinate and tell you this story. But I'm telling you this story to the glory of God for you to understand that the God that we are talking about is the same God that allowed my spirit to come back into my body for me to be here right now to talk to you. Science didn't do that. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the real stuff. And I'm telling you this because the Bible talks about.
All right, so quick. Hold on, quick. I'll let you go on for like 2-3 minutes. Go quick. All right, all that is good and well, right? That's a very nice story. Now, when it comes to that, right, I'm not going to say that you didn't experience anything or that you didn't pass away or your heart didn't stop. All that could have happened, and I'm actually glad that you're still with us, all right? Because I'm pretty sure that your family would be devastated if you were to die. So I'm happy that you're still with us, that you still have a loving family, and you can still enjoy life, right? I'm happy about that. But what I'm trying to say is that, number one, I've known people who are non-believers who also had near-death experiences, the same thing that you've had. Their heart stopped for like 2-3 minutes and everything, and they saw nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? So I would ask, how would you explain that? But the second thing that that I would say is that I'm not going to doubt your experience, right? You had that experience. What I am going to doubt is, what are you attributing that experience to? Because just because you experience that thing doesn't really make the thing real. Because I can experience a pink dragon in my garage. That doesn't mean that pink dragons are real, right? I could be deluded. I could be high. There could be a multiple things to explain why I experience, right? So just to wrap up or just to reiterate what I'm saying here, when it comes to near-death experiences, I know people who don't believe that also had near-death experiences and didn't see what you saw. They saw nothing. How would you explain that?
Because it's up to God to allow that to happen. That's why you've heard of people that die from stroke and heart attacks and they didn't come back to tell their story. Why? Because they are dead. So it's up to it's about a relationship that you have with God. Some people don't see nothing. But if you go on YouTube, there are people like Brian Melvin, Bill Weiss, 23 Minutes in Hell. There's Jim Woodward. There's Ivan Tuttle. There is so many people that I can refer you to who are not dead, who are not bloggers, who are just making money. There are people who are already well-to-do, like Jim Woodward, the Canadian pilot, who saw his soul leave his body. These people are not people who need money, bro. There are people who are coming out and some of these people are atheists. Brian Melvin was an atheist. And
Right,
I
I
want the
understand.
audience to go Google him,
All that
Brian
is
Melvin.
all that is good. All that is good and well, right? All that is good and well. But that doesn't mean that what the experience is actually real.
Well, but what makes you smart is instead of you saying that something is not real, why don't you do your research? You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about just reading books. I'm talking about you praying to that God that I'm talking about and see if he's going to manifest himself unto you.
Quaco.
That is what makes you smart, because guess
Quaco.
what? If you
Quaco.
should close your eyes and die,
Quaco.
right? Hold
Quaco.
on, bro. If you should
were
die and you should
Quaco.
appear in front of that God,
Quaco.
you will look stupid if you didn't believe what I was telling you, bro.
Quaco. If you were to pray to Vishnu, why don't you pray to Vishnu? How come you won't pray to that God?
Pray to what?
Pray to Vishnu, the god of Hinduism. Why won't you not do that to see if that God is real?
Because there's no salvation in the God of Hindu, bro.
How do you know that?
Every day,
wait, have you read the Vedic text to know?
No, I haven't. But I've lived with
Exactly.
Pakistanis and Indians. They've gone through with me with their prayers and everything. When I ask them questions, bro, they do not have a definite answer about who is going to get them saved at the end of time. They don't.
What does that mean? Get saved at the end of time? Hold on. Quick. What do you mean by get saved at the end of time? What does that mean?
Saved at the end of time means that when you die and your eyes are closed and your heart physically stops beating, or whatever kills you, or whatever happens that you are no longer on this earth, you are going to live in the afterlife. Now, that God that you believe in that afterlife, has he guaranteed a place for you in that afterlife?
Yeah, in Hinduism, it depends on which Hindu tradition that you practice, but yeah, they do have that. So does Shintoism. So if they have a place for me in the afterlife in Shintoism, should I follow Shintoism?
When did Hinduism start, bro?
What?
A few centuries ago. When did Hinduism actually start?
Before Christianity.
Hinduism, Islam.
Hinduism is older than Christianity. Hinduism is the oldest religion. It's older than Christianity. Way older than Christianity.
Hinduism is older than Christianity.
Way older.
Okay.
The Indus Valley civilization existed. Hold on, wait. The Indus Valley civilization existed at least 3,000 to 4,000 years before Jesus. Matter of fact, I think it was like 2,000 years before Abraham. Hinduism is way older than Christianity. It's the oldest religion.
Okay. And you believe that praying to some animals or having them to be sacred is a way for you to get saved? Right?
No, I'm not saying that, bro. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that these other religions make the same claim that you're making, that there's a place for them in the afterlife after they die if they worship a certain god. But you're saying that you number one said that they don't have that claim, but they do. But number two, you're saying that your claim is stronger than theirs, but none of you have evidence what you're saying is true.
Have you ever heard of any Hindu person say anything about when they die they will get saved by a Hindu god? You personally, have you ever heard that?
No, it's not about it's not about getting saved. Like that's all I was asking you. Hold on, quick. That's what I was asking you when you said, "What do you mean by being saved?" You said a place for you in the afterlife. Hinduism claims that if you worship certain gods, there's going to be a place for you in the afterlife. So does Shintoism. So does voodoo. You know what I'm saying? So is like they're making the same claim that you're making. So now you're saying when it comes to saved, what I'm going to ask you again, what do you mean by saved? A place for you in the afterlife or what? Okay. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so saved again, like I said, let's say that what happened to me if I didn't make it, God forbid, let's say if I didn't make it and I'll be on the other side. Now, the life that I lived here will guarantee if I was going to be saved on the other side. Now, many prophets and many religions.
I'm sorry. I'm going to let you go, but I need you to explain again, what exactly does saved mean? Because if you're just going to say a place for me in the after, hold on, wait. If you're going to say a place for me in the afterlife, Shintoism has that, Hinduism has that, voodoo has that. They all have that. So when you say saved, what exactly do you mean by that in your context? Okay. Do you mean like go to a place of eternal pleasure and lovingness and stuff like that? That's what you mean?
Sorry. Okay. All right. Sorry. So let me explain. So salvation in the context as a Christian is when you are saved, you're going to God's kingdom. Okay. So that God is the God that I'm talking about, which is Jesus Christ who came in flesh.
Okay,
gotcha. God who came in flesh was Jesus Christ. So that is what I mean by salvation. You being saved means that you made it. You will not be damned.
Okay, gotcha. So when you say we won't be damned, like go to like a place of eternal punishment, something like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. How do we know
And
those places actually exist?
oh, it does exist. So many people have had so many encounters. The Bible talks about it, and you may not believe in the Bible, so I'll not use it as an example. I have a friend back home who had an encounter where he was being dragged. He was on the bed being dragged, and I know this guy personally. I went to school with him. Being dragged from his bed, and he was being attacked, and he was falling in darkness. He kept going down and further down and further. I mean, my brother has seen the evil side as well. Back home, if I say darkness, I can give you so many stories of people falling from the sky, witches, but it's not something that I will talk about on this stream because not everybody will but the devil is real.
Okay, gotcha.
Demons and Lucifer is real.
Yeah, I
So
got
that
you.
is why
So
we are sometimes.
I understand. Quick,
So the reason why.
I just don't believe in that. But I'm gonna go ahead and move on because we have 15 minutes. I do appreciate you. Go ahead and call in anytime. All right, guys. Go ahead and keep liking and sharing. I do appreciate y'all. I need to have a hard cutoff of 15 minutes because the first caller went on long. I'm sorry, that's not y'all fault. It's not y'all fault that the caller went on too long. But I'm just gonna have a hard cutoff of about 15 to 20 minutes. All right. So someone in my YouTube comments told me to pick up their call. The name is Elijah. So Elijah, in my comments, let me know what your area code is, and I'll go ahead and get to your call next. All right. The next person has an anonymous number. All right. So the person who called in from anonymous, can I get your name, age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
My name's Garrett. I'm 21, and yes, I do disagree with what you have on the board.
All right, Garrett, 21. How's it going, Garrett? What did you disagree with?
Reparations for Black Americans.
All right, great. Yeah, I think they should happen because the United States government was complicit in damaging the African American community, so they should be the one to fix it. The way that reparations should happen is we can do cash, other than just payments, cash payments for or I should explain. Not just slavery, but slavery, redlining, Jim Crow, black codes, mass incarceration, the war on drugs, which all targeted black people specifically. Those things should be repaired, but not just just giving them money, but also repairing the education system because it's paid through property taxes, which not only affects black people, it also affects poor whites. So that would improve the condition of poor whites, poor Hispanics, and poor Asians as well. If we redo our entire education system, and I would also say the criminal justice system, because after poor black people, the criminal justice system also targets poor whites. So all that should be changed, and that's how we should do reparations. Disagree with that?
I disagree with that. Yeah.
All right. Why shouldn't we change the justice system, the education system, and repair the African American community?
Because I think the African American community has already had the greatest reparation of all. They've had the chance to go back to Africa.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next caller. Let me see if let's see. The area code is 941, but I was waiting for Elijah. Elijah hasn't told me what the area code is yet. All right. So Bangfar, I'll get to you in a moment. You're the 941, right? All right. So you're actually gonna be after a few more people. Give me 1 second, y'all. Like that should be better. I had to just disconnect for a second. All right, we're gonna move on to 562. 562, how's it going? Can I get your name, age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, my name is Ricky. I'm 21, and I disagree with prompt 1, I believe.
All right, great. Yeah, I think America was never great because it never lived up to its principles of liberty, justice for all, and equal opportunity for all. And in many cases, we fight against it. And this is proven by the fact that when America first started, there was slavery. After slavery, there were black codes and Jim Crow, which kept African Americans as second-class citizens and Native Americans as well. And even now to today, after we do that, we haven't rectified. We haven't actually repaired the African American or the Native Americans for that time. And in many cases, we fight against it, just like the last caller. So that's why it was never great. Until we fix those, America can't be great. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that we can never be great. We actually can be. We've shown instances where we can be great, such as the civil rights movement. But at the moment, we're not.
Oh, wait. I thought your prompt was America was never great, because I was going to say, I think your prompt should be America is never perfect, because I agree, no country has ever been perfect. But isn't your prompt America has never been great? Like there's nothing has been great.
Right. So when I say America was never great, like typically is that's a response to, you know, make America great again. And I can't think of a time when America was great specifically for black people in this country, because again, slavery, Jim Crow.
I mean, I can tell you some stuff,
but yeah, sure. And subsequently, yeah, sure, it could be great
we invented the light bulb, we invented the airplane, we invented
I got you. No, the telephone was actually invented by some Italian guy. But yeah, sure. Yeah, all that is good and well. Yeah. But even during those times, we had massive discrimination. That's not a good thing, right?
What country hasn't? You know, that's kind of like stupid. I'm not trying to be rude, but what country hasn't had discrimination? You know, we're all tribal. I'm not saying that's right, but like every country and every.
I'm talking about legal based. Yeah, I'm talking about legal based. These people of a certain color cannot go places or live somewhere, or cannot have. Done that? What country hasn't done that? I'm not sure.
Like every country has done that. Like even the Turks, they're discriminating against Europeans.
Yeah, they're not great either.
Certain African tribes that were discriminating against other African tribes.
Right, they're not great either.
Native Americans. Weapon?
They're not great either. Then.
Yeah. It's like nobody's great. So like, I want you to judge. Like, what am I trying to say? Like, why are you picking on America? Like,
because I live here.
Yeah, and why not to be rude, like if it's not great, why do you live here?
Because my family's here, my life is here.
Yeah, but you don't like it, right?
I didn't say I didn't like it.
It's never great.
Correct.
You just said it's not great. And specifically, you said it's not great for your people, right? People of color, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, why don't you like move to a country where, you know, they treat you equal, I guess?
Right, because I live here, our family's here, and we built up this country, so why wouldn't we stay here and get what's
due? You guys don't like. Well, this is your claim. I'm not saying I agree, because I'm going to use quotas. You're claiming that, you know, America, like they hate black and brown people, they hate poor people.
Yeah, so we should fix that.
You guys don't like it. Why don't you just move to a different country that doesn't have those problems? It doesn't make sense.
Why don't we just fix what's going on here? Why would we not do that?
Yeah, but nothing's gonna satify you. I swear.
How do you know that?
Nothing is never gonna.
How do you know that? Hold on.
The civil rights we have affirmative action.
Garrett,
so many things.
Ricky.
Go ahead.
How do you know nothing will satisfy me? How do you know that?
Or it's an association of like.
Yeah, exactly. You're just assuming because I'm pointing out the issues of the country means that I'm never gonna be satisfied with what the country is.
And the things that's kind of stupid, isn't it? Are not realistic.
Okay,
so that's another reason.
Hold on, wait. Why is it not realistic to repair what the government broke? You're saying that the government. Hold on, wait. Are you saying that if the government causes damage, they shouldn't fix it?
No, didn't you say earlier you want to give like I don't know how much? I'm pretty sure you want $1 million probably.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. You have no idea. Hold on, Ricky. Okay, Ricky, I gotta mute you real quick. Do me a favor. Ask me details instead of just assuming shit. How about we do that? All right. Let's be fair and do that. You're actually going to ask me for details, and then I will explain. That sound fair, Ricky?
Yeah. Okay,
Great.
Let me ask, because I heard you earlier with the other caller talking about reparations.
And
I talking about reparations.
Yeah, and I told you about reparations. I said that we should reform, like one of the things besides cash reparations, is that we need to reform certain systems, specifically the school system, the education system, and the criminal justice system, because those don't only affect black people, they also attack poor whites. We both know the criminal justice system goes after poor whites. They go after poor blacks first, but they go after poor whites too. So we should change that, right?
When you put it that way, yeah, that sounds good, honestly. Yeah.
That would be part of reparations.
That's not reparations then, right?
Yeah, no, it is reparations, because the people most affected by it wouldn't be affected by it anymore.
Because I thought you were bringing up slavery, you know?
Yeah, I said slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, which were all targeted towards black people. So we still see the effects of right. So we still see the effects of those things to this day. We still see the effects of it.
No, I don't think so. I think everybody's free and equal. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. How do you explain the wealth gap between white families and black families?
Oh, that's easy to explain. That's a culture thing. That's not a government thing. That's
Wrong.
A culture thing.
Wrong.
What do you mean wrong?
Were black people allowed to own homes?
That's a culture thing. We're talking about right now, right?
What was redlining, my friend?
Wasn't that a form of discrimination?
Yeah. So how is that a culture thing? Redlining. Hold on, Ricky. Redlining is the reason why the wealth gap exists, not a culture thing. When you say culture thing, what does that even mean?
Okay, there's a culture problem in the black community. I mean, that's a fact.
Right. No, it's not a fact. That's just your opinion. Fact. No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let me ask you this question. The contemporary issues, Ricky, answer me this question. The contemporary issues that exist amongst black Americans, it also exists around in Native Americans, and it exists in indigenous Canadians. These three groups do not have the same culture, but they all have the same problems. How do you explain that?
Wait, so you're saying Native Americans are 50% of their fathers are not at home?
Yes. Have you ever seen the issues on the reservation?
Not true.
Have you ever seen the issues on the reservations, Ricky? Like most young Native Americans live with their grandparents because their parents are never there. Random deaths happen all the time.
Is it 50% though? Is it 50%?
It's probably more than that.
No, I'm gonna double check that right now. But
hold on, but when Ricky, your entire claim of 50% of black fathers aren't in the home, like number one, most couples you're talking about like single black mothers, right? The issue with that is that it's not taking into account of cohabitation. When you take into account cohabitation, you'll see that 50% gets a little bit more blurry. But also, it shows that even when the black fathers don't live in a home, they're still involved with their children's lives. That's been shown by a CDC study. You know that, right?
Yeah, but how if they're not there?
If they're not there, they're still calling them. They're still helping them with homework. They're still going over their house, and they're still financially providing for them. That's how they're involved. Like the CDC looked into this, right? And they see. Hold on, wait, hold on. Listen, hold on. Listen. They looked into this. The CDC looked into this, and what they did when they tracked the fathers who didn't live in the home, what they saw is that the fathers who didn't live in the home were still calling their children. They were still visiting their children almost every day. They were still bathing their children almost every day. They were still helping them with homework almost every day. They were still involved with their children's lives.
Okay.
Right. So when you say that the black fathers are not in the home, that 50% thing, it's very, very blurry. There's a lot of context that you're missing. But the second thing that I would say is that you didn't answer my question, right? Black people in America and the indigenous Canadians and indigenous Americans, they have similar issues when it comes to crime, when it comes to poverty, when it comes to low educational attainment, when it comes to unemployment. Hold on, listen. When it comes to teen pregnancy, when it comes to crime, when it comes to educational attainment, they have similar issues. But these three groups do not have the same culture. Listen, these three groups do not have the same culture. Shut up. These three groups don't have the same culture. So they don't have the same culture. If they don't have the if they don't have the same culture but have similar problems, how do you actually explain that?
Why are blacks more likely to commit a crime?
Poverty.
Poverty
and proximity. Poverty and proximity.
Okay, so that justifies robbing somebody, and stealing.
Robbery is a poverty crime.
But does that justify it?
No. No one's saying about no one said anything about justifications. You asked me why they're more likely to do it. Poverty and proximity.
Okay, and people being poor, it's because of them, their choices, their lifestyle, their culture.
How was the projects created? Do you know how the projects were created?
Can you elaborate?
Redlining. Yeah, all the claims that you're talking about. Why are they poor? How did that happen? How do you think that happened?
You keep interrupting me. Can I?
Ricky, you're the one who asked me this question. You said I said poverty. Hold on. You asked me why do our black people more likely to commit crime? I said poverty and proximity. And then you asked, and then you claimed that poverty is because of lifestyle. That's what you claimed, right? So the thing that I'm hold on. What I'm asking you is how exactly was poverty for black? Hey, shut up real quick. How was poverty for? I need you to shut up real quick. That's what I need you to do. How was poverty for African Americans created in this country? Because after slavery, black people just didn't all of a sudden go into the job market. It didn't happen. During Jim Crow, black people weren't making the same amount of money as white people. We know that. So how exactly did poverty happen with black people in this country? How did that happen?
Dude, there's rich blacks right now who are still thugs, man. You're
not answering my question.
Whole culture thing.
You're not answering my question. How did poverty happen?
Poverty is because of choice right now, currently in the 21st century.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Poverty is systemic. Because if someone is born to poverty, they're more likely going to stay in poverty. This has been shown in multiple studies, not just black people. I'm talking about any race. Any race who's born into any race of people, when you're born into poverty, you're more likely to stay in poverty. So that's not choices at that point.
Yeah, but you could get out of poverty.
We know that people can get out of poverty. What we're talking about is the overall results. When people are born to poverty, they're more likely to stay there, and this goes to any race. So you can't say it's a black thing.
It is a black thing.
Okay, how do you explain white people who are born into poverty and staying in it? Is it a black thing for them too?
Oh no, that's a life.
Is that a white thing?
Anybody?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
fucking stupid, bro. I'm not doing this anymore. All right, we're gonna move on to 941. 941. I do apologize that you had to wait so long. 941. Can I get your name, age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, my name is Kentrell Jenkins, and I am 18 years old, and I'm an active immigrant from Somalia.
No, you're not. But what did you disagree with?
I guess I'm not. My first prompt that I disagree with is that America was never great. I mean, here's why it was always great. So
slavery's great.
I mean, we can. What?
Slavery's great.
Does slavery define America, or is it just an attribute that happened in its history?
Was slavery great?
Did it define America?
Was slavery great?
No.
Great. So when America had and defended slavery, when America had and defended slavery, it wasn't great. So
I mean, no, it wasn't great. No, but does that define the state of America in 2025?
Not in 2025. Back then it did. But from 1776 to 1865, America wasn't great. All right. So after 1865, you had black codes. Black codes were laws like that African Americans can't be in a certain place and can't look at certain people, or otherwise they will get arrested or even killed. Is that great?
No, sir.
Cool. So from 1865 all the way up until this stopped around 1920, maybe 4. Then Jim Crow came along. Jim Crow was a system where black people couldn't get the same thing as white people. You were not equal at all. You were a second-class citizen. Is that great?
Can I give you my argument beforehand, or
you can? But I'm just asking you yes or no questions so we can get to the point. So was that great during Jim Crow, the Jim Crow era? Was it great?
Yes.
Okay, so a certain group of people being second-class citizens is a good thing.
Depends on what those people are doing.
What are black people doing in the early 20th century to be second-class citizens?
I mean, you tell me.
Nothing. They just had a different skin color. That's it.
Okay. I see. So I'm not in agreement with that. I'm just waiting to give you my position so then you can refute my position.
All right.
I've heard your position. I've been watching.
Okay. So control. I'm not sure how you can disagree with American history. According to American history, hold on, listen.
I'm disagreeing with your verbiage. Your verbiage is that America was never great.
Right. In American history.
A monolithic.
Right. In American history, when during the Jim Crow era, you just said slavery wasn't great. You said black codes weren't great. Okay. During the Jim Crow era, which lasted all the way up until about 1969, from 1923 to 1969, black people were second-class citizens.
I think it was 1967.
Yeah, 1967. So when I asked you, is being black people, is a certain group of people being second-class citizens great? You said it depends, right? And I said all black people did was have a different skin color during that time. So is having a different skin color, is it a good thing to make people who are different skin color second class citizens just because they're different skin color? Is that a good thing?
No, it's definitely not. But can I give you my position on why I disagree with your prompt?
Okay, cool. Let me so I got you. You can give me that thing, but I just want you to see here that from 1776 all the way to 1967, you can't claim America was great during that time.
No,
so
of course,
but
I'm attacking your verbiage. So I disagree with your verbiage. So you said America was never great.
All right, so after 1967, yeah, you disagree with my verges that America was great possibly after 1967. Am I assuming correctly?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now you can go ahead. Why is it great now?
Okay, so I believe America is great in 2025 for I'm going to give you about 3 basic reasons. So actively, we have DEI. DEI is one of the greatest things that's ever been implemented into our country. We're giving Black Americans, we're giving lesbians, we're giving the LGBTQ community a chance to finally thrive after being second-class citizens, as you said, that we're both in agreement of. The second reason, abortion is finally legal. That's something that I personally have been fighting for a very long time. And I'm glad to see that the Black community is utilizing that, especially with what the CIA did to us, and they gave us all these fathers outside of the homes and teen pregnancies. It's a good thing that we can finally do abortions, right? And the last thing is I just think that now with e-commerce being a common thing, there's a lot of Black Americans now who've been able to raise above the bar. So the reason why I disagree, just to condense it one more time, the reason why I disagree with your prompt is you said it was never great, right? And as a person, I would say I'm a centrist. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a conservative guy at all. But when you say it was never great, what you're saying is a monolithic statement of all time in the past, right? So 5 seconds ago when I first got on this call, you're saying America was still not great, correct? Would you say that America is still not great today?
Yeah, I would say it's still not great today. And and the reason why I would say that is because the systemic discrimination still exists. Yeah, DEI, you're correct. Okay. DEI is a good program that helps out Americans. Women having reproductive rights. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you as well on that. Women having reproductive rights. And you said one more thing that is slipping my mind right now. Damn it. You said, what was that last thing you said? Because you said one more thing that's in my mind. What was that last thing you said? I'm sorry.
My last point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the Black Americans of e-commerce and real
e-commerce. Okay, yeah, got you. Okay, yeah. So yeah, all those are good things, which is why I said in the beginning, America has shown flashes of being great. You know what I mean? Like the civil rights movement, everything else that you're saying. Yeah, I got you. So the civil rights movement, everything else that you're saying, those are flashes of greatness, right? But when we see the overall that systemic discrimination is still a thing, and not only that, like for example, you brought up DEI. Yeah, that's a good program that we have, right? But then we have like the current administration and people who even agree with that current administration to take that away. So not only do we have a flash of greatness of we want things to be more equal, but in a lot of cases we fight against it. You know what I'm saying? So if we didn't live in a nation that,
can I ask you a question?
Right, exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. Like until those type of things end. That's what I mean. We can't be great. But go ahead. What was your question?
Okay, so my question for you is: are you saying that America was never great just from the perspective of a Black man in America, or because if you were, let's say, you were the white man and you were like your whole family's been here for a super long time, couldn't you say that America has always been great because you've always been the beneficiary?
Right. Yeah, they can. But because
so my question is for you: is your position is it biased or do you think it's actually objective? Question statement. And before you respond, I just want to back up on this real quick. Would you say that, let's say, for the white man, obviously America's always been great, right? But for the Black man, it probably hasn't been great, really ever, right? So does that mean that we just have to take the Black man's purview or his worldview on America and say that America's never been great, or do we take the white man's, or do we meet in the middle and we can say we can take a Latina's perspective and say it's been great or it hasn't been great, and we can kind of come to a more centrist worldview rather than saying it was never great. To say something never is always, that's just we all know. I mean, you're a smart guy, I'm a smart guy. I think we can both agree that that's just illogical to say in the first place, right?
Gotcha. So, all right. So the reason why I say that, right? Because I am coming from a biased position, but my position is based on the overall society. Like, for example, let's go out of America. Let's take the UAE, right? The United Arab Emirates we all know how Dubai got all popular. It's all flashy. The UAE has, plenty of things to do, excitement. It's rich, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, all the women too.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. But they're awful to women, and they have slavery. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, for UAE men, it's terrible. So UAE men, they can say it's great, but women live in that society, and the enslaved people they have also live in that society. So why won't we take that into
consideration? Force the cement BBLs on them.
Right, exactly.
I hate it.
So why won't we take all that into consideration? So it's the same thing with when it comes to America. Sure, white people can say that it was all good and well, but that leaves out, a huge percentage of people in the society that are not getting the benefits of that, right? So why won't we take all of them into consideration? So if we have a society where certain group of people are treated as second-class citizens, but there are people on top, we cannot really call that a great society because of that symmetry. See what I mean?
Okay, I see your point. Can I see another question?
Yeah, sure.
So let's say we had 100 million people in America, even though that's obviously not a statistic, but let's say we have 100 people in America and that's the total population.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 75 million of them are white men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 25 million of them are black women, okay? And I think me and you can both agree America's awful to black women and it's disgusting to see, but then we see that the white man is getting all these extra benefits and all these, there's no redlining with them, right? Mm-hmm. So would you say in that instance we should still side with the 25%, or do we side with the 75% when we make a claim, a general statement, of course, about the state of America in 2025?
I will still say the 25%, because just like how you said, if the society is still treats 25% of its citizenship as second class, how is that a great society?
I see your point. Okay, I see your point. So I have another question for you, right? So what percentage, are you saying that in order for it to be great, there has to be 100% agreement between all inhabitants of the country, or at least maybe 95%, to say the country is great?
Well, I wouldn't say like they're all in agreement, right? Because we can all be in agreement about anything. But I would say what would need to happen is that we need to see if the country actually lives up to certain pro-social principles, which I think like the pro-social principles that are in the Bill of Rights. You know what I mean? Freedom, justice for all, opportunity for all, meritocracy, everything like that. I think those are pro-social, right? I think those are pro-social, those are pro-humane, those are positive. But,
okay, I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. But do we live up to it? You know what I mean? We've seen a lot of cases, not only do we not live up to it, but even when we try, just like how you said with DEI and women's reproductive rights, we have certain when certain people get in power in our society, they want to take those away. You see what I'm saying? So we fight against it in a lot of ways. So because of that, that's why I would say it wouldn't be great. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so do you think that if we had let's say we had an entire black government, let's say we made up the entire government, I mean, from president down, from mayor up,
mm-hmm.
Would you say that it would be different? Or do you think it's contingent upon skin color, or you think it's contingent upon policy?
It's contingent upon policy. It doesn't necessarily be contingent upon skin color. So because we know. Okay, so like you know the saying, right? Not all skin folk is kinfolk. Like you know that saying, right?
Yeah. I know that saying. Yeah. So my question for you, which is, I guess it could be puzzling for you. I'm not sure if it is or not. But if we had, let's say, a trans woman in the presidency, right? And that woman were to say, I want to remove reproductive health care because it didn't benefit me, correct? Mm-hmm. And then the women responded by saying, no, like, if you're going to take our reproductive rights away, then we want medicalized BBLs, right? So that it was part of healthcare. Would you say that would be, that would make America more great if we gave BBLs as a part of healthcare?
That's funny. I'm not sure about that, man, because BBLs can be dangerous. I mean, you can do what you want with your own body, right? Like that's something, like, as long as it's not dangerous or anything like that. Like, you can do what you want with your own body, but I'm not sure if giving free BBLs is what will make America great again. Sure, there'll be a lot of women that will probably look a lot better. You know what I mean? Say Taylor Swift, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that would be. I think I think the policies that we should put in place should be like, you know, pro-humane and pro-social things like that. I'm not sure of I think you're being silly. I think you're just giving a extreme example, but that wouldn't be something that I would think would. I don't think that would be necessarily be something that would make America great. You know what I mean? Like free plastic surgeries, or we'll just say plastic surgeries, like free plastic surgeries. You know what I mean? Like, we should. Now I do believe in universal health care. Yeah, I mean, now should plastic surgery be part of that? I'm more with that. I think private insurance should exist for the luxuries, like, you know, boob jobs, rhinoplasties. You get private insurance for that. But for everything else, what people mostly need, it should be universal. That's what I would say, if that makes sense.
Well, I do have a question. Yes, I understand. So, but let's say in the current world that we know, right? So we know that a lot of powerful men oftentimes are just these disgusting pigs, and they look at women for their beauty. Wouldn't it be more advantageous for women to get these surgeries for free, and that would allow them to excel in the job market if they had, let's say, a BBL or a boob job, or they had plastic surgery?
That is
given to them.
Yeah, that is a very good question. Free. No, that is a very good question. I think that's one of the tensions that we haven't resolved yet. You're bringing up something that I don't think has been resolved yet, but I think what you're saying is more of an issue with men putting value on beauty and not the actual merit, which would be in my opinion, would still be problematic. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we have universal health care and we say that plastic surgery is now free and women started getting them for them to excel, I think that will still be a problem in our society, because we're putting more emphasis on aesthetic rather than their actual skill. So I think that will still be problematic.
Can I ask you a question?
But yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a follow-up question? So, I mean, we're talking about obviously kind of leaning towards meritocracy to give people opportunity based off their skill, of course, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that inherently go against the purpose of DEI as a whole?
No.
Because they're hiring people based off of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and not necessarily off merit.
No, DEI is actually about merit, because people who were actually did have the merit weren't being included in these spaces, or they're because of cultural ignorance. People assume that they didn't have the skills and merit to have it. Like, one of the big issues for discrimination in retail against Black applicants is because managers kind of assume that Black people don't have soft skills. You know what I mean? They don't have the skills to actually give good service. You know what I'm saying? So that's actually one of the big issues within retail and stuff like that. So DEI is about qualified applicants. It's not about, you know, just hiring any Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street. Like me, my expertise is in insurance and counseling. No one's going to hire me to be an astrophysicist. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. So, I mean, this is kind of one of my last questions. I mean, I disagree with a few other points. I don't want to take up the time from everyone else on the call, but this will be one of my last points. So I do have a question for you. So under the current state, right, it was never great. So we can really deduce right now that, do you know who Chavez Kestenbaum is?
Who?
Chavez Kestenbaum?
No, I don't know who that is.
Do you know who Chavez Weinstein is?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so these are two Jewish men who have been running a lot of these things. I mean, they're really behind the orchestration of Jim Crow and redlining. Mm-hmm. And their family, the Weinsteins and the Kestenbaums, they have been implementing things directly to attack the Black community. Mm-hmm. And one of those things, they added cement BBLs in New York back in 1967. And in the year of 67, they chose a select number of Black women to go and promote this into the family. And we saw a byproduct of that as women decided to give their children BBLs at a young age and over-sexualize the Black community. So if we're going to pinpoint, I guess at a more precise point of what makes America never great, right? According to your point, we have to look at who's running it, right? And we see that Chavez Kestenbaum and Chavez Weinstein, both of these people were main orchestrators into the degeneracy of the Black community that we see today.
I mean, whoever they are, you know, I don't know who they are, so I don't know enough about to make a point about that. But if they, you know, promoted what you said, yeah, that's if they're promoting like over sexualization of children, or not even over sexualization of children, period. If they're promoting that, then yeah, I'm against it. They're awful people, and we should know more about it. You know, you see what I'm saying? But I don't have enough detail to know what you're talking about. But just taking what you say off face value, if these men over sexualize, or not, I say over, if these men promoted sexualization of children, then yeah, they're awful. I mean, they're terrible. Like there's not really much more to say about that. When it comes to sexualization of children, like black bodies have always been over sexualized. You can see that with, you know, the entire BBC and white female thing. You know, I mean, that's the most watched porn. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like
what's BBC?
You know, big black, you know, thing down there. You know, so like that's what it is. That's what it's all about. BBC. Wait, and yeah, that if you go on any corn site, you'll see a lot of things about BBC and white women's. Like it's a big thing. I mean, that's the most watched porn.
Are you promoting it?
No, I'm not promoting it. I'm saying like when you research, that's the most. What I'm saying is that black bodies have always been over sexualized, and that's an example of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Wait, let me look at it real quick just to double check what you're saying. Whoa!
Yeah, that's the most watched corn. That's the most watched corn. You know what I mean? So black bodies have always been over sexualized.
Why is so 11 inches? What the hell?
Yeah, that's a problem. But hey, I do appreciate you being up here, Cantrell. I'm gonna take one more caller. You have a good one. All right, appreciate you.
All right, you too, man. Why is this so big?
I said, why is it so big? All right, so two of the callers, Kwaku and Garrett, you guys have already been here. And I'm only going to take one more call before I get out of here. Once again, guys, I do appreciate y'all all being here. Y'all are wonderful. Let's go ahead and keep liking the live. Let's try to get it into 6K likes. 504, how's it going, 504? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board? And can I get your name, please?
My name's Chris. I'm 32. And I disagree with the reparations.
All right, Chris, 32. So the reason why I say African Americans should get reparations is not just for slavery, but for also black codes, for Jim Crow, for policies that redlining, policies that directly targeted African Americans and deliberately made their issue in America, the poverty issues in America worse, specifically for African Americans, right? And that was caused by government policy and private actors as well. So because the government was complicit, or the ones that damaged the African American community, they should be the ones to repair it. Do you disagree with that?
I don't know if I disagree with it, but my thing is this: like, all right, like, if they did do something like that, like, what would be the solution? Like, after that, everything's all good. Like, we all good people now. Is that all it is? Is just money?
I don't think it should just be money. It should also be reformations of entire systems, and the reformation of those systems also affect white people. So, like, it would be a good thing if we did it, like, because all poor people are affected by the systems that need to be reformed.
Well, right. So, if everybody, no matter what you are, if you got a social security number, you're from America or whatever, you're a citizen, shouldn't, like, if everybody got a check, would everything be all good? Or is it just like a status thing? Like, black people just need their check, and then it's like, okay, we did it. Is that what it is? Like, what is it?
No, I think we should reform systems as well. I think we should reform systems as well. Because, like, yeah, you can go ahead and give black folks a check, right? That doesn't mean that the criminal justice system won't still be discriminatory, or that the school system wouldn't still be crappy in poor red line areas, right? So those need to change as well.
So it still wouldn't be good enough, even if you got money, if they got money, right? If the black community got money or whatever.
Yeah, we need to fix other issues. I think the education system, for example, it's all done through property taxes, and we know that causes issues because poor areas are going to have worse schools because less property taxes, less funding, right? And all the extra funding they do get from the feds, it all goes into the administration instead of the teachers and the actual school facilities in of itself. Right. You see what I'm saying? So let me just finish this. So when we talk about reforming the school system, I mean, like, the way that we fund schools needs to change overall. It needs to be more equitable funding instead of doing it through property taxes. And that won't only be an advantage to redlined and poor black neighborhoods. It would also be an advantage to poor whites because that happens to them as well, right? But the second thing that I would say is when it comes to, like, the red line areas, like the poor black schools, what I would do is I would put pilot programs in all those schools for every high school student to graduate with a trade. So they graduate as plumbers, as electricians, as LPNs, things like that. They can go directly into the workforce and they'll be able to build themselves out of poverty. You see what I'm saying? That could be including reparations as well as giving their families, like their parents, their mother, their father, whoever, or their grandparents, whoever they live with, also give them like the reparations of like, I'm not sure how much it would be, 10, 15, maybe $20,000 at the end of the year during tax time, in order to rebuild their wealth, start businesses, put down on their homes in order to pay their homes back and stuff like that. They can also be not just giving them money, but financial literacy programs in these schools as well as the licensing programs that would exist in these high schools. Does all that make sense now?
But right, like, I mean, all that sounds nice, but like what's, like, I'm just trying to figure out the solution, because in my opinion, boss, and trying to be honest, like, I don't think nothing's gonna fix it. I think until it's like a black on white law, because I'm from New Orleans, bro, and I'm not gonna lie to you, black people tore up, bro, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if you just look up on your computer, on your phone, Dookie Chase. There was a shooting 2 weeks ago inside of a restaurant. Nobody had nothing to do with nothing. Two black men ran in there, 18 and I think 22. One of them, they had beef. They got in a shootout or something. One dude died, and 3 innocent tourists got shot. One in like bad condition. So like, I hear you with all this, like, we this and this program and this and that. But if we give reparations, when is all that stuff gonna stop? Because like,
right,
bro,
all right. So when it comes
really
to
messed up out here, bro.
No, I
really
got you. No, I got you. What a lot of people don't realize, and even though it's going to sound insane what I'm going to say, all of that is connected to poverty.
Right.
I know that sounds insane, but a lot of that is connected to poverty, because we've shown that when you alleviate poverty in a certain area, all crimes, robbery, assault, even domestic abuse, it all goes down. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that women should be with wife beaters. Of course, don't be with a wife beater. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that when you address poverty issues, things like alcohol addiction, things like drug addiction, things like what you're talking about, dudes having beef and just shooting out anywhere, like doing ignorant shit like that, all that decreases once you address poverty in the area. Like, for example,
but that's not the white people, dude.
I know it's not the white people. I know it's not the white people. But let me explain what I'm saying. And I live in Central Florida, right? There's a certain part of Orlando that a billionaire came from. In order to give back to his community, he went in there with at least, I think, $500 million, and he invested it into after school programs. He invested it into gang programs. He invested it into his old high school to give them new facilities, new books, everything like that, right? He invested into financial literacy programs. He invested into trade programs, everything that I'm talking about, right? He invested his own money into this area. And it went from one of the worst black neighborhoods that you could live in to one of the best black neighborhoods that you could live in. You know what I'm saying? Like things like drug addiction, things like shootings, things like robbery, sexual assault, all that tanked after he put these programs in place with his own money. Now think if we did that nationwide. He already has a model for it. You know what I'm saying? Now think if we did that nationwide, all the issues that you're talking about would all, like, probably, if they won't disappear overnight. There's still ignorant shit, of course, with the shootouts you're talking about. There are people who don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm not talking a lot, but I'm going to finish up. Just to land my plane, there are still people who don't have good conflict resolution skills, right? That's part of what I'm talking about. In these schools, we can have funding in order to build conflict resolution skills, in order to build, their trade skills, in order for them to start to work. Because if any of those dudes had a real job, like, let's say they're an electrician making $70,000 a year. You're really gonna think about, oh, I got beef with the dudes, I gotta shoot them. They doing that because they got nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? So if we give them skills in order to have conflict resolution and skills in order to get jobs and things like that, they won't be out here in the street. Give them something to do, and what you're saying will happen a lot less. Does all that make sense now?
No. Because I mean, dude, I'm from New Orleans. I'm Italian. I'm Italian from New Orleans. I mean, I look at myself as American. I really don't do all that where I'm from and this and that. But honestly, like I'm all for reparations. But that moment after that, any black person that has anything to say after that, it needs to be consequences because like if it's just a money grab or it's like we did it. I'm just saying, bro, because I feel like every people's got problems. Every
all right. So
country's got problems.
Chris, hold on real quick, man. I kind of need you to understand because I'm struggling to understand exactly. I'm really trying to. I'm just struggling to understand your position. You're telling me here that if we give these young poor black men who have nothing to do and nothing to lose, if we're able to give them skills for them to get well-paying jobs, if we're able to give young 14, 15-year-olds who have nothing to do after school program so they can learn about software, they can learn about any other trade program, so they won't be on the street, they won't be out there in gangs. And because when they graduate at 17, at 18, they're able to get good income and be able to lift themselves out of poverty, it would not decrease the crime and all the other issues that you're saying. It won't decrease that. You're saying that all these black men are going to be electricians and welders and plumbers, and they're still going to shoot and rob each other. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I think in New Orleans, I don't know where it is everywhere else, but in New Orleans, it's mandatory. These kids don't want to do none of that. These grown men don't want to do none of that, bro. I'm telling you.
And they don't want to do none of that. I got you. They don't want to do none of that because there's no hope. They don't see any reason to do it. They don't see any hope. But if we do give them hope,
you give them hope.
Yeah. I know that sounds crazy because I have here that faith is unreliable, but if you do give them some hope that they can get out of their situation, which means that we putting in program and said, hey, yo, bro, if you learn this program, baby, you're going to be making $70,000 a year when you get out of here, and you don't got to be out in the street shooting each other and everything like that. You can actually get out of here. You don't have to do all this. You can do something else. You really think that all those kids are going to be like, I'd rather sit on the block and put my life in danger and sell crack than just have a regular job and be a regular dude? You really think they're going to do that?
In New Orleans, 100%, bro. Being a gangster, want to be a gangster is top job out here, bro. Everybody, even your welders and your electricians in New Orleans, they still carrying that thing and they're ready for whatever. I'm just saying, bro.
I mean, yeah.
Saying, when does it end, bro?
I got you. I got you.
Shit on the white people the whole time.
No, it's not about. Hey, bro, Chris.
They starting to wake up.
Chris. I ain't saying nothing about white people this whole time, bro. So not about the white people.
No, I hear you, but that does happen though.
No, I got you. I got you. Now, here's the thing. I do have someone on my TikTok that says that she's from New Orleans, and what you're talking about is a load of crap. Like they will go ahead and take those. But now I'm not from New Orleans, right? I'm from Florida. I'm from Miami, Florida, right? In Miami, Florida, hold on. I got you, Chris. I got you.
Go to Cluey Street.
I got you, Chris. I got you. I'm from Miami, Florida, and we have a lot of the similar issues that New Orleans had, right? A lot of similar issues. And I'm telling you right now, people down here in Florida would definitely take me up on what I'm saying because they don't want to be out there on the block. And I really doubt that 12, 13-year-olds would rather die on the street at 19 than live to see their grandchildren. Are you really saying that they would rather die at 21 than live to see their grandchildren over in New Orleans? That's how it is over there?
100%, bro. This Baghdad for real.
I just disagree, bro.
Look up
you're full of shit. Caroline from New Orleans in the comments. I'm trying to get her up
in
here.
a restaurant eating fucking gumbo for no reason because two fucking black dudes want to go in there and act. I don't know, bro. I'm just saying it's really bad, bro. And I think a lot of white people waking up.
I understand that it's really bad in those places, right? But I highly, highly doubt that these young men will not take an opportunity to get out of the situation and will rather just shoot at each other. I highly doubt that. I think that's BS. I think I've taken vacation to New Orleans before. I think your trauma of seeing people blitz each other like that is blinding you from the reality of the situation. Most people do not want to die on the street at 19, bro. That's just the facts. You know what I mean? Now, give me a second, Chris, because I do have 2 people over on my TikTok. You won't be able to hear them, but they'll be able to hear you. You're still on mute. Give me 1 second. How's it going, Kay? How's it going, Caroline?
Wait, he won't be able to hear us?
Hello.
Right. He won't, because I still have the
okay.
still have that issue going on. Like I can't have y'all hear each other. It's a problem.
Okay, so I'm like, so Caroline up here is from New Orleans. And like she said she was from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Hey sis, I'm like, can I ask your race and ethnicity?
Hi, yeah, I'm white.
You're right. And
okay,
you're from New
so
Orleans.
2 white people.
And I'm from New Orleans.
And you're from New Orleans. You're a white woman from New Orleans. Okay.
Yes.
I'm like, he has been saying a lot of different things. What have you seen? I'm like, well, let me ask this. Are you originally from New Orleans? Like,
yes,
originally?
I'm originally from New Orleans, yeah.
Okay, so what are the things that you have seen within New Orleans? Because I'm like, I feel like this guy is just full. I'm like, is racist as fuck, to be honest.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So I used to teach.
Oh no, yeah.
I taught in the city, and yes, crime is bad, but it's a systemic issue and it's a poverty issue. And when kids are given the opportunity to do something else and are motivated, it changes. Mm-hmm. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I just want to make sure that Volsi can basically tell the gentleman on the line what you're saying.
Okay, sure.
No, he dropped off already, so you guys don't have to worry. Hey guys, I'm closing.
Okay, so he dropped off. Okay, I do want us to have. I do want her to
continue
to tell us what she's seen, especially as an educator, so that people watching this live, even on YouTube, could get some education.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, Caroline. Jay, I see you in the comments, Jay. I'm gonna get you up here in a second. Just 1 second, guys. Hey, YouTube.
Oh, hey, Jay, what's good?
Hey, Jay.
I'm like, I'd be seeing Jay in other spaces.
Yeah. Hey, Kwaku and 415. I'm closing out the line, guys. Kwaku, I already talked to you. Like it's over with. So I'm closing out the line here on over on YouTube. All right. So guys, the line is closed over on YouTube. So if you want to talk to me, you have to go ahead and come over to TikTok, okay? Because we closed the line here. And because I'm gonna get out of here in a moment. All right, so
hey Jay.
Hey Jay,
I saw Jay on Ebony's live.
Oh, cool. All right,
I'm like, I don't know if you know her, I'm like Eb Ready or something like that. That's her TikTok.
Yeah, I've seen her. All right.
I'm like, Caroline, I'm like, I definitely want to ask you, because you were definitely saying basically the same things that we were, that with opportunity and education, and I'm like, and it was a systemic issue, and with opportunities and education, as well as opportunity, these things can be resolved.
I fully agree. I think it can be resolved, but it really does require systemic change. And one thing that I noticed is that the kids in my class were not confident. They would turn their homework in and they would kind of try. And from their work that I would see, it's like, I know that they knew the things that I was teaching, but there's just like such a significant lack of confidence. And teachers down there don't support them as much as they should be supporting. And I feel like if that changed, then we would have a huge shift across everything, because I noticed whenever I did support them in the way that they needed, their scores went up, they were more motivated, they felt better about the work that they were putting out there. And when that opportunity is presented and is real, that would make a significant change.
Okay, so I definitely want to ask this, because I feel like I know the answer, but I'm not sure because I'm not from New Orleans. I'm from Philly. So we have like similar issues from Philly, like as far as crime and things are concerned. So I do want to ask this: is New Orleans, is from your knowledge, a historically redlined area? And the reason I'm asking this is because historically redlined areas, they have, especially, and I'm asking you specifically because you're an educator as well, the historically redlined areas due to the property tax is being so low, that I'm like that public schools typically within these areas do not get the materials that they need, and the educators do not have what they need. So from your knowledge, is New Orleans a historically redlined area within the United States?
Hands down, it is honestly still pretty redlined. It is, I got to run in just a minute, but it is very, very, very redlined, and it's still that way, honestly. Like if you just look at.
Yes, I'm like, so Vosi, what you were saying earlier, but I'm like, because I know a lot of redline areas in Philly, and also my family came from Memphis to Pennsylvania because of the history of redlining in this country. That was actually one of the major reasons why my family came to PA during the Great Migration. That and like the racism during Jim Crow. That's
of course
a whole other thing. But
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Like I definitely wanted to hear like some perspective, because I knew Vosi and I were not crazy. Like I definitely heard racism and heavy anti-blackness.
It was definitely
very, very, very racist down there. And honestly, I left because like it just wasn't. You can't do much with that. Like it's so bad right now. But thank you again for having me. And I hope y'all have a good evening.
You as well, Caroline.
Yeah, thank you for coming, Caroline, and clearing that up.
Yeah, definitely drop us a follow, because I definitely want to talk to more educators, because I've always assumed what I said was true, like they're just not getting the opportunities. But if we have more educators who actually cared, you know what I mean, then we have more educators like Caroline, we would definitely have more people that would do well. But how's it going, guys? Jay, Caddy, how's it going?
Hey,
guys?
Jay, what's good?
What's up? Okay. Back to Caroline. Isn't Caroline a white tea woman?
Yes, she is.
So
she said that.
I'm just confused on how she is educating inside a system that she benefits from.
No, I do agree with you. I just wanted to counteract some of the things that the other gentleman was saying.
Okay, because the thing
that was my main point to that.
Yeah, I personally don't think that white women or white people should be educating our children in the first place. It's because
I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you. I think.
I was going to say.
I agree with you.
Because they benefit from a system that's very much, and she said redlining. Just because she is educating doesn't change the systemic issues that is very much macro. I think that she is, and I hate that she left, is because she is also trying to be the beneficiary and also the savior inside the whole process. I just find it very funny. I also find
Caroline is back, Jay, by the way. She just said she's back.
Okay. I just I think that the educational system is very much programmed and indoctrination. It is up to uphold white supremacy and to perpetuate Black inferiority. I also understand that the schools in these places are very much, of course, redlined. And if you are removing students from the said issue, and having and you know what's interesting is just like we know that we need resources. There's resources. These resources are constantly being taken outside of the educational system, the schools, and everything like that. I just don't understand. I just think we're spinning wheels here.
May I also make some critiques about education? Education largely is an echo chamber within itself. different states make up different policies and different rules for educators and curriculums for educators that educators must follow. And often we have a wealth caste system that also affects education and different types of education for different types of people. Yeah. So that's a huge problem. Not everybody's getting the same education all across the board. There is also what is known in sociology called nature-nurture situations, where nature-nurture situations create psychological different traumas within those echo chambers that causes a lot of divisions, and the capitalistic system also conflicts with all those echo chambers and causes even more divisions along wealth caste lines. So when we're talking about fair and equalness, capitalism is not the answer, nor is democratic socialist capitalism, because what happens is you cannot guarantee that the system will be fair and equal when it comes to wealth power dynamics. And we are living in a education system that doesn't teach people how to be the best capitalist. We're living in an education system that discriminates, that doesn't teach full history, that automatically has its problems where it's not even allowed. A teacher, if they wanted to, are not even allowed to teach how they want to teach. They're forced to within that rigid line of the curriculum. So there's a huge ideological divide, and there's a huge wealth caste system problem that affects all this. And then you add algorithms to that and AI to that, and you're further seeing these people get entrenched in religious extremism, within nationalism, along race identity. And so it's also people not even really educated fully on history. And you have people having an identity crisis problem because they're not fully educated on history in a certain way. They're only educated on history that the country wants them to be educated on. And that's a huge problem. So education is flawed. And because it's unfinanced and it doesn't take into account all the cultures and all the different things that it needs to take account in the world, it's just trying to make cogs in the machine so that we can just sit there and be good little capitalist bunnies, sheep.
Yeah.
These are all. I'm not negating any of that you're stating, but we very much have to understand that this country is, when it comes to white supremacy, and it's very much propped up, and the ideal of the society that you were saying about could divide. The integration was by far the worst thing that we could have done as Black people, to be integrated, because when we were educating our own students, our own children, the proper way, and when it comes to critical thinking skills, when it comes to self-awareness, when it comes to for them to even have emotional intelligence, those things were incorporated in these set school systems when we were teaching our own students. Now, when we talk about, of course, the redlining and all these types of things, I'm very much concerned for my community at this current time. I'm very much so, because I see and understand what's truly happening, because I also grew up in these said school systems in Georgia, where I went for predominantly black school, and not having the said resources, and moving to the next county over, which is called Fayette County, which was predominantly white, and I see definitely a difference when it comes to the curriculum, when it comes to having home economics, when it comes to the set things that we need in order to achieve a better society, was missing in those said schools. And I could tell you now that it's very much unfortunate that we're still in these spaces, and we're still in these spaces. And I feel like removing us from these communities would benefit and help us better. I can't speak for other races of people. It doesn't mean that you guys can't have whatever educational thing. I know I see the concerns with my community, and it's very much detrimental.
Okay, I wanna say this real quick. Cosmic, culture is not blaming culture for systemic issues is literally a white supremacist talking point. So I don't know what you're talking about, saying that is not the case. It is actually a very common, and I hate the term white supremacy because they're not supreme. There's nothing supremacist about it.
Yep.
And yeah, I like to call it white inferiority.
Absolutely.
Right. I don't like. I'm like because language is powerful, and I don't like. But because that's the common language that people understand, I will use it occasionally. But again, that is absolutely the truth. I do not
What
know
when
why.
they make
What's
these
the
claims
argument?
about when they make these things about culture, and I wish they come up because it's to actually stand on what they're talking about instead of being in the comments being bitchy. Come up and actually expound on what you're talking about culture wise. Is because last time I checked, your culture, this whole thing about white culture, which by the way is a social construct, it is tied to genocide. J-side, excuse me, sorry, Lossy. J-side is tied to very much
Talk shop.
yeah. It's very much tied to very much harming said society, not only our community but yours as well too. You should maybe read a book called "Unaliving a Whiteness." It's "Dying of Whiteness," and it talks about three particular things within your community. It talks about the smoke usage, it talks about the PPU's usage, and it talks about another use. I can't remember what it was, but it's specifically those two. And it talks about how whiteness has conditioned vast majority of people within this nation to strip themselves of any humanity and to hold themselves to things that doesn't necessarily benefit them, and that's very much harmful. So I think, sir, if you're going to spend too much time focusing on our culture, I think that you should direct yourself to your culture, because also too that white men lead in essay. You lead in unalivings your own domestic when it comes to family members. You also lead in unaliving yourselves. So I think that is
as well as their children.
Absolutely. So I think that instead of you two focusing on our culture, I think you should direct yourself to yours. Maybe we can live in a better society when you do.
I wanna add some things.
No, Candy. Before you do, but just before you go, I'm like Jay. I'm sorry, Jay. Like Jay. I know you wanted to talk to Caroline before she left the other time. I'm like, so I wanted to make sure you had the space to do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to get.
We'll get to you, Caddy. Right after Jay speaks to Caroline. I'm sorry. I'm just messing around with this. I'm trying to see if we can get the all the audios to sync up so all the people can hear each other. But yeah, go ahead, Jay. I think you had something to say to Caroline. I want to add in one last thing when it comes to integration. Right, one thing that I've always said is that desegregation was always going to happen because segregation means that they still control the resources. You know what I mean? I think the mistake was us not pushing to equalize the resources instead of saying to completely integrate.
Well, that's initially what Black Americans were. Well, let's be clear. That's initially actually what ethnic Black Americans were fighting for. I'm like, it wasn't about initially integration. It was about having equal access to resources, because I'm like because I could tell you for a fact that many Black Americans had no problems with the white and Black community in America being separated. In fact, many actually did prefer it that way, specifically because of the history of this country. Many Black people during the Civil Rights era were not for integration. What they really were fighting for was for equal access to resources and opportunities, and also equal protection under law, and to literally not be strange fruited.
Exactly.
From
That's
trees.
why I think the way that integration happened was a mistake. It was going to happen regardless if we got equal opportunities, or Black Americans were able to get equal opportunities. It was going to happen regardless. But the way that it happened, that was the mistake, in my opinion. If that makes sense.
I'm like, I also, this is. I'm just gonna say the quiet part out loud. I feel like a lot of integration. You know what? I know how you try to, but
they wanted access to them white women's. Yeah, I mean, like I know exactly.
Okay, I'm like you said it, I didn't.
No, I get it.
Okay,
I get the sentiment. There are people who disagree with it, but I'm like, y'all, that's a strong sentiment, and I don't see exactly.
I am like, and I've always said that Black women were mainly supporting it because they wanted. We just thought we were doing the right thing and were trying to equalize the playing field. But let's be clear: the Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Movement, was Black men trying to get access to white poom poom. That's exactly what it was about. Okay, so
I cannot.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
It was a very much so. Excuse me. Give me a second.
I didn't mute you, Jay. By the way.
No, I muted myself because someone else was next to me. I just it's funny. Don't listen to her, y'all. This is the case, but no. I say the Civil Rights Act is very much to keep an eye on us, but also too when it comes to I don't think that the Black community was asking for to be in proximity to white people. It was also to be separated as we were because we know much how harmful that same opportunities and access.
And that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't. I was too busy talking. I apologize if you said. Reiterate that. Yes, very much so.
I did say that earlier because a lot of Black Americans historically did not want to integrate.
Absolutely,
like, there are whole
integration
videos about it.
And when we look at society now in 2026, integration, and a lot of us understand that it has caused even more of a wealth gap. It has caused more indoctrination. It has caused a vast majority within the community to be anti-Black, to not like themselves and prop up the same white supremacy as I said stated before on the educational system and also to the judicial system. Everything about this society that we live in is a very much white power structure, and it has nothing to do with the Black community. Has been in a place to harm and create a society of labor and also to enslave us. Not only educational wise, but physically as well.
Yeah, because as Black Americans, I'm like Volsi can't speak to this, but as an ethnic Black American, if you actually speak to your elders that went through Jim Crow, a lot of them had no issue.
You are connected as the host.
With separation.
Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. I was just trying. I'm trying to test out.
That
something.
was you.
Yeah, that's me. I'm trying to see if this works because I want y'all to talk back and forth. Because my last guest, he's back in my comments, so I'm gonna tell him to call back in. I just want to see if it works now because I was just trying to see if it works. And yeah, my lady's in front of me twerking, so that means that my time to go is probably going to be soon because. You can't be showing that big booty in front of me and think I'm not gonna do nothing with it. All right, cool. So I'm gonna have to punish my wife soon, y'all. So
I'm like, and every time I'm like, let a man talk. He'll show you he's just a man. Okay.
Hold on, real quick.
Why do you see, Voss? You always try to leave when I get up here on the panel. I swear.
Yeah, I know.
It never fails. Every time I get up, I don't even spend too much. 20 minutes up here, you already got to leave.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
But I definitely. But me and Jay were roasting this Polish guy on Ed's live the other day, and it was amazing.
Okay, give me 1 second. Hey, Chris, I want to make sure that you can hear over on TikTok. Can everybody say mic check 1 2 if y'all can, please?
Mic check 1 2.
Chris, did you hear any of that?
No, I ain't hear nothing, dude.
Damn, still can't hear.
Oh, I didn't hear nothing.
That sucks,
I didn't hear nothing.
That's why I
still
hung
can't
up.
hear.
I couldn't hear nothing.
All right, I got you. All right, do me a favor. Hey, no, Chris, hold on, Chris. Caroline, can you do
Chris?
Yeah, Caroline, can you do me a favor? Actually, Caroline and actually all three of y'all, Caroline, Jay, and Kay. Can y'all do me a favor and call in? Get the number up here.
Actually, yeah. Hold on, let me put it.
I'm on my damn phone. How can I do that?
No, you'll have to drop, but I'll add you up. Yeah, I'll add you up and just put in the comments what your area code is, and I'll add you up to the call. That sound fair, Jay?
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that right now.
Yeah. Drop and then call in. Not 95. Also, all right. So Caroline, go ahead and drop Caroline and call in, and I'll add you up. All right. And Kay, if you want to go ahead and call in, you can do the same thing. I'm just waiting for you.
I'm gonna do it. Hold on.
Gotcha. All right, y'all. So we're gonna do a panel show real quick. I'm just gonna go ahead and is 835. All right, cool. All right, I see y'all. I'm adding y'all up right now. 985 is Caroline. All right, Caroline, you are now on the line, and I'm gonna add Jay. All right, Jay, you're now on the line as well, and I'm gonna add Kay. Okay. And Kay is now on the line.
Hey, it's KK.
Gotcha, Kay. All right, so everybody, pause up real quick. We're gonna go one at a time. We're gonna try not to jump Chris because we know Chris is saying some very racially insensitive, and matter of fact, I'm just gonna call it a spade, very racist things. I'm just calling a spade, Chris. What you said was very, very racist. That these black folks are just not gonna want to do the work and just want to shoot each other. All right, so I understand that, but you want to talk to Caroline, so we'll go ahead and let Caroline go first. So Caroline, you are an educator in New Orleans. Why don't you tell Chris what have you seen in your opinion, and not in your opinion, in your experience?
Sure. So just to preface, I'm no longer an educator. I was prior to 2021. And I don't live in New Orleans anymore, but I am from there originally, lived there, taught there, went to school there, all 9 yards. What I was saying previously was that the issue is primarily systemic, and it has to do with really how people are treated, when it comes down to it. And from my experience with teaching, the kids that I taught were not confident, and when I got their homework in and I was able to see their work, they kind of knew what they were doing, but just didn't really have the confidence. And whenever they're properly motivated and properly supported, then they're able to excel, and that really does change things. And I think whenever it's whenever the system is so broken, it just puts people down and it keeps them in a cycle. Can you hear me now? I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but it keeps them in a cycle that's just promotes poverty and crime and all of these things. And that's about all I got.
Gotcha. I got you, Caroline. All right. So everybody was able to hear each other, right? Everybody was able to hear Caroline?
I can hear.
Yeah. All right, great. All right. So give me 1 second. Who was 917? 917 is Jay. All right. So Jay, you also want to respond, right? Go ahead, Jay.
I didn't hear anything. What does Chris say that was racist? Is which, by the way,
you weren't here.
Doesn't have anything.
Gotcha.
By the way, sorry, my connection dropped.
No, I'll go. All right. So Jay, Chris's basic argument was in New Orleans, what he's seeing is that a lot of the black people there are just, going around being thugs and gangsters and shooting each other and not really doing anything with their lives. And I said that all this,
and they don't have no desire to do anything with their lives. Exactly. They're just basically violent criminals, with the energy.
Exactly.
Is Chris there now?
Yeah, he's there. Chris, you're still here, right?
Yes, he's here.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm waiting to respond.
All right, cool.
So Chris, I don't understand on how you spend so much time focusing on our set community. Could you tell me about 3 major things in the white community as a collective that you find is deemed to be an issue that you feel that you should fix?
Can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, first of all, they don't stand up for themselves like they should. So I learned a long time.
Chris, I want to reiterate the question. I want you to listen to me very carefully, because you stated here that you think that the black community is violent, thugs, criminals, and all of these types of things, right? So there's an issue that's going on. It's very much systemic. It's very much a nurtured issue, and we know that it's not natured. We know that it's nurtured. So I'm asking you, sir, I need you to correlate the same types of things that you see within your community, the types of terrible behavior that you want to espout and let us know that we're dealing with. I need you to let us know what is going on the white community when it comes to the terrible behavior, and also what are you going to do to fix it? Like name three major things that you see that is terrible, that is harming the white community, and I need you to expound on that. And what are the solutions that you have?
All right, well, that's what I was trying to do, but I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, y'all calling me racist, but y'all know the definition of racist.
No, we said the things that you said were racist.
Hold on one second. I didn't call you racist yet, but I'm pretty sure that you are, because that what you stated was very much racist and very much bigoted. So I don't want you to deviate from what I asked you. Don't focus on why you're being called racist. You should be figuring out you should be figuring out what I asked you. Since you want to focus narrowly on my community, I need to understand that you also having issues with your community, and what are these three major things that you know that's very much detrimental, that you feel that you need to fix, and having solutions behind that. What are those things?
You asked me like 20 questions, to be honest. Can I just
I didn't ask you 20 questions. I asked you the same thing, is because you're trying to steer the conversation to somewhere else, and we're not going to do that. I need to know, what are three major things.
I just want to respond, dude. You go ahead.
Okay, you were going to respond. I don't need you to say anything else, but actually I need to know those three things that's very much detrimental to your society. Go ahead.
So I don't know, to be honest. I mean, as far as I see with white people, they don't stand up for themselves like they should. But y'all keep calling me racist, or I'm saying racist
It's okay.
things.
It's okay. You know why you call racist? You know why you call racist? It's because.
But do you know the definition of racist? I don't want to argue, dude.
It's okay.
I'm just trying to.
It's okay.
Have dialogue.
Hey, we don't need to argue. We don't.
Hey guys, pause me real quick. I'm sorry, Jay. Pause me real quick. All right, so Chris, like, this is gonna be the fourth time we ask you. All right. So Chris's question is, when it comes to white people, what do you think are three major things they need to address and change? What are the problems in the white community, since you're pointing out issues in the black community? That was his first question. Now, you said white people don't stand up for themselves as they should. I'm not sure how that's a huge issue, because I think that's an issue with black folks, to tell you the truth, because we're just peaceful people. But if we were as wild and crazy as, you know, how white people have been in the past, this country would be on fire right now, but it's not, because we just don't want to do that. But at the end of the day, Chris, you said the issue is that white people don't stand up for themselves as much as they should. In what way does that cause issues within the white community? Not black people doing anything to white people. I'm talking about within the white community. How is them, you know, I guess, being soft, what you say in your words, how does that cause issues within the white community? Does it cause them to be more likely to be addicted to drugs? Does it cause them to be more likely to, go after and harass children? What does it actually do? That softness that you're talking about, what does it do?
Yeah, what does it do?
Appeasement is the road to tyranny. Like, when you just sit there, like, you gotta meet force with force. You can't just sit there and
what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm kind of lost.
Exactly. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. Can you? Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris.
Can I say this, y'all?
Yeah.
What it's giving is that he's basically saying that, and this is what I'm hearing, right? This the undertones of it. He's saying white people don't stand up for themselves. What I'm hearing him say is that black people are, they don't stand up for themselves to black people, like, and we're somehow bullying them or whatever the situation. Like, do you hear the undertone of it?
Yeah, I hear the undertones, which is why I was trying to give him a chance. I'm sorry, I hear the undertones, which is I was actually trying to give him a chance to get out of it, but he didn't take it. He didn't take it. But yeah, Chris. Right. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I'm trying to explain myself. Y'all keep interrupting me. It's like I'm listening to y'all. I'm being respectful. I'm showing my class, and it's just like every time
we don't care. You know what's interesting? We don't care about you being respectful, because the thing is that you're also being not only insulting our intelligence,
Nobody's scared of you,
me.
homie. Nobody's scared of you. I'm gonna buy you road with it.
We
nigga.
don't care about you being scared. We don't care. We don't care about any of that. We're trying to have a conversation.
That's what it is. Because
we don't care about any of that.
You just butthurt, dog.
We don't care about any of that.
Killing each other. Your people are killing each other, bro. And you don't give a fuck. You just want to sit here and prove me wrong. But I stand on it. I go to NOPT and I can stand on it. I guarantee you, niggas fuck
no
with
one
me,
said
dog.
any of that.
Oh,
no one is saying
fuck
any
with
of
me,
that.
bro. I stand on it. I stand on it. I'm really
all right, everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause for me. Everybody pause for me. All right, so Chris. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Hey, mute up real quick for me, Chris. Mute up for me real quick, Chris. All right, so everybody gonna pause.
Out.
Yeah, he's already crashing out. All right, so Chris. So two things just happened up here, right? Caroline, who's also wasn't educated in New Orleans, she said that the issues that the students had were systemic. The issue that the students had were issues of confidence. It wasn't that they just want to go out there and shoot each other like you claimed on the call. She says that their issue is that they just have a lack of confidence. That's really it. If we build their confidence, just like Hal said before, if we give them chances, just like Hal said before, we'll see them do well. And then what Jay pointed out, or was trying to ask you, is what are issues that you see in the white community that need to change that are negatively affecting them? And you said they're not standing up for themselves as they could. And then when we asked you, what does that even mean? You said, oh, it leads to tyranny. Now, what Kay pointed out is that it sounds like you're saying that they're not standing up to themselves towards us, towards black people, that we're the ones doing something to them. And we asked you to clarify, but you didn't take that exit. Right, so I'm gonna ask you one more time. I know Jay's not gonna like me that I do this. I'm gonna ask you to clarify one more time. When you say white people are not standing up for themselves, what exactly does that mean? Now, all three are gonna stay quiet. I promise that they are. We're gonna give you at least 30 seconds to explain. And in that 30 seconds, if you don't explain, they're going to interrupt you again. So in 30 seconds, Chris, or at least let's give him a minute. Let's be frank, give him a minute. In 1 minute, Chris, can you explain when you say white people not standing up for themselves is a problem, it causes issues? What does that mean? You're off mute now. Go ahead and explain, please.
Okay, so I just want everybody to look at the definition of racism first of all.
All right, so I'm gonna mute you again. We're gonna mute you again because Chris, I need you to answer the question. When you say that white people don't stand up for themselves, what exactly does that mean? Because we're hearing an undertone of black people attacking white people, and white people are just being soft about it. They're being soft shoot about it, and they don't want to stand up for themselves against the black people. That's what we're hearing. Are we mistaken? And what do you mean by that? Please answer those questions. And in 1 minute, you're gonna be unmuted. Go ahead. Answer those questions for me, Chris, please.
Okay, so I read a long time ago, appeasement is the road to tyranny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you just sit there, it's like say a dog or something. Like if you
mm-hmm.
So bro, like I don't know, I've been interrupted so many times, it's just confusing. Like they want to act tough like they somebody. I'm on Bayou Road in New Orleans, nigga. Come see it. Come see it, bitch. Fat asshole, bitch. I'll spit on your fucking face, bitch. Bayou Road in New Orleans, nigga.
The YW came out, y'all. The YW came out, y'all.
Fuck Philly, nigga.
The young Whitey came out, y'all. The young Whitey came out. The young Whitey came out, y'all. We knew it was on its way. Yeah, he hung up, y'all. He hung up.
And I hope y'all notice how I clocked exactly what he was getting at. And we're trying to get out, literally showing he's a racist. Like he literally just proved.
Yeah, exactly. He dropped the N-word and everything. Yeah, so we all deal.
Chris,
yeah.
Are you there?
No, Chris dropped. He dropped.
Hey, Chris, are you there?
He dropped.
Okay, Chris, if you're listening, Chris, I want you to be the frog, and I want you to jump first. Okay, I want you to make that leap, and then we'll follow. Since you're so big and bad, Chris, you go ahead and make the first. You take the first swing, okay? And we'll see how far you get. But Chris, you know what's interesting about you all and those who are listening is that you're also focusing on a definition. There is no way that the definition would tell us how things function. We understand that the definitions, the dictionary, just tell us how words are within the society and what they and how we're being used. It doesn't tell us how things function. And I'm sick and tired of you all using the definition as a excuse or not even trying to take the time to actually understand how things function, the structural functionalism of things. And it's very, very anti-intellectual, and it's pretty much sad. What you basically display to us, Chris, that you are inferior to us and that you feel intimidated by us is because not only that we're educated, but we also have bigger dicks. And then on top of that is that yeah. And that you can't stand next to us if you could. All right.
Never.
All right. I hope you're listening, Chris. Thank you so much for calling in.
Jay, I'm like, listen. When I tell you, Jay and I were eating that racist Polish man on Ed Live, honey, he started crashing out.
Of course he did.
And here we are again.
Mm-hmm. They always crash out, y'all. They always crash out. They
always crash out. Like, I'm like, let me tell you something. I'm like, people like, it was a man from Europe. Let me, bro, I'm like, Jay, I haven't got over how he said he was racist towards Americans. The word he was looking for was xenophobia. Like, talking about the American education system, and he used the word racist to describe prejudice towards the nationality. Like,
it's always the same. Yeah, give me a second, Caddy. Give me a second,
it's
Caddy.
unfortunate. You see how they're going to be able to. What's that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, Caddy was talking to me on my TikTok. Now? Yeah, I'm about to get off now. But hey guys, I appreciate the conversation.
I'm about to come back to the TikTok.
Oh yeah. No, but I'm about to end that too because I've been on for 3 hours. I got to hang with wifey now. But hey, y'all.
Okay.
I'm gonna be on to tomorrow though. Tomorrow I'm gonna be on with Bar, so you guys definitely got to be there for that. All right. But
I'm like.
Yeah, but
I'll definitely come for you and Bar.
I got you. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and end the live now. But y'all, I really, really do appreciate y'all. All right. So, but the show is gonna end here. You're gonna hear a hang up. But you guys can come back to the TikTok any time. But so I'm gonna end it in about a few minutes. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right. But I do appreciate y'all. Love y'all. JK and Caroline, I appreciate you all. All right. Definitely.
I'm like, see you in the TikTok street, Jay.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Oh, sorry, babe. I'm about to get off for now. I've been on for 3.5 hours. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Caddy, what was that? Did you want to say something?
Yeah, man. When it comes to real quick, when it comes to white identity, a lot of white people don't even have no damn sense about their own identity. A lot of them have traded in their identity for Abrahamic religion, have traded in their identity for capitalism. And they think America has a culture. America doesn't have a culture. Its culture is capitalism. That's America's culture. So when you're talking about, white people being like, oh, I'm a proud American and all that other stuff, like half these white people don't even know their own Irish roots, their own Italian roots, their own Greek roots. They don't know none of that. They're just like, I'm a proud American. It's dumb. It's ignorant. It's no culture.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as American culture. You know what I mean? All the culture was brought to America. And we can even argue that, the native people to this land had their own culture. They didn't need no other culture. You know what I'm saying? So that's another argument. So any white person saying, they have the identity problem where that's what happened. Do you know that religion got unified among because, a lot of white people who are Irish, Italian, they had different religious denominations and they did not get along, and they even discriminated against each other for it. But when the American capitalist system figured a way to unify white underneath race, then all of a sudden they had to look for some other, and they forgot all about, over time, they forgot all about their Irish and Italian and all the other roots that they had, even their pre-indigenous roots. They've forgotten about that in favor of Abrahamic religion, which is not native to any of them, which is like, again, I always mention, Abrahamic religion is only native to the Middle East. That's all it's native to.
Exactly.
If you're a white person claiming Abrahamic religion, you're only doing that because your people were colonized and you don't want to, exactly. You're claiming another culture, which,
There's a lot. I know, but Caddy, I do got to get out of here, man. I always appreciate you and your rants. You be going off, man. You be getting those bars off for real. But hey, man,
my bad. I go too long sometimes.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I appreciate you, man. But I do got to get out of here. You always welcome back anytime. I'll be missing your lives though, Caddy. Whenever you go live, I'll be missing it because I'll be at work. But I promise the next time you live, I'm gonna try to catch it. I'll get on my break or something like that, and I'll try to catch it. All right. But yo, I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate everyone who was here, who wanted to talk and had a conversation. You guys are wonderful. And like I said, I appreciate it. Now every time I end these lives, I always say the same thing: is that every man should be soft, and that's secure, affectionate, wise, flexible, and trustworthy. All right. I'm gonna start making t-shirts of that soon. But I appreciate y'all, and y'all.